So there might be people that comment. You can write to them.
Sure.
Or
Cool.
even talk to them, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are live here at the Egg Guard 3. I'm your commentator, Main Millage, with my other commentator,
Zach.
How you doing, Zach?
Good.
Good. We're out here at Method MMA doing the Egg Guard 3. We're going to get started here in a couple of minutes now. Our first matchup is Adrian Tragero versus Andrew Ruff.
Yep, we got Adrian coming out of Form Jiu-Jitsu here in Baltimore, and Andrew Ruff out of Method MMA, where we're actually hosting the event from today.
Yep.
A little bit north of the city.
Yeah, it's exciting. We have not commentated Egg Guard in a couple of months here, so it's fun to be back. This should be a really great, fun blue belt match to lead us off with.
Yep.
Actually, formerly trained with Adrian a couple of years ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. Get to see how he's progressed.
Yeah, it'll be nice.
And here we go.
And we are off in the first match.
Andrew in the black gi, Andrew in the blue gi, and Adrian in the black gi.
Yeah, Adrian doing a really good job getting that outside pan grip, trying to pull the leg down to stop the guard from being established.
Yeah, this is disrupting that guard pull pretty nicely. Kind of looked like Andrew had set up some nice grips prior to jumping guard, but Adrian was able to sit his butt down nicely and get control of that outside leg, and he's using it here.
I think he's doing a good job making the space there to get around the outside leg.
Yeah.
But Andrew's doing a good job bridging his hips off, putting the foot on the shoulder to really force Adrian to make a big committed step.
Oh, and Adrian here is changing directions really nicely, bouncing back and forth between passing towards the left and passing towards the right. And
he's also doing a good job blocking that lasso hook from coming in.
Yeah.
Well, he really flared his elbow correctly so that you can't punch that leg through on the bottom.
Yeah, it does look like Andrew's sort of getting close to setting up some nice spider grips here, though. He's gradually working towards it.
Yeah, Adrian's doing a good job fighting off that hand, or he's now established now at the bottom there with that hand grip.
There we go. Okay.
Some good heavy pressure passing from the outside here.
Yeah, staying on his feet, but keeping a little heavy pressure down on those on Andrew's top leg here. Recovered back to spider.
Yeah, really good grip game from Andrew here. He's really keeping the distance that he seems to want to set up his game. Adrian's doing a good job kind of keeping that foot down, but he seems to be sort of not getting the grips he wants to pass in order to stabilize the hips and legs and knees.
Yeah, and it's appeared that Adrian's been sort of in control on top here, but also Andrew's managing to work into the grips that he wants as Adrian's kind of moving around the pass. So
yeah, he's really disciplined, like reestablishing exactly what he wants, that close side, that cross side collar grip.
Yeah, and he's starting to attempt to use it. Almost got past in the process, but recovered nicely yet again.
Adrian's doing a good job of kind of trapping that bottom knee of Andrew.
Yep.
I'd like to see him kind of close it in a little more to get a little more control, because it seems like Andrew's able to get that bottom knee out freed and continually, but he's switched the grip so that he has Andrew's bottom knee kind of trapped underneath his guard.
Yep.
Underneath his legs.
Underneath his leg, yeah. They're keeping a little pressure on that ankle, making sure that Andrew can't get his own leg free. It's kind of hard to play spider guard when you only have access to one of your own legs.
Yeah,
so he's doing a nice job keeping that leg trapped either between his legs or underneath his thigh.
It really is kind of a classic counter to that. You trap that bottom leg, and then it prevents the establishing of that foot up in the shoulders and then the armpits, the biceps, like you need.
Yeah, and then you can try to capitalize as Adrian's been doing here by getting up and moving around it once you've got it trapped nicely.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit more of the same. There's a lot of this mobility passing from Adrian on top. He's sort of pressuring in a little bit onto the legs, but he hasn't fully commit to a pressure pass where he's sort of gotten his knees down on the ground and pressured into the hips. He's staying up and mobile as he's trying to make these passes, which
he really wants to pass on the outside. Doesn't look like he wants to smash pass through. He wants to really throw the legs by and I think beat him with his hips.
And that's a pretty smart game, because clearly here Andrew's very good at retaining his guard and moving back and forth between the guard, and so you don't really want to commit to having to pass in one direction by dropping yourself down and being stable.
Yeah, it really leaves you open. There we go.
There we go. Oh.
Omoplata attempt? Nope. Potentially the arms through.
But a nice regard anyways. And
nice triangle
triangle attempt. He's got the triangle position locked in, but Adrian's pressuring into that top leg pretty nicely. It's going to be hard to close up the triangle all the way and get the angle.
I can't see if the arm is in the guard or outside of the triangle.
Adrian's right arm is inside of the triangle still, but he's pressuring down on the choke leg very nicely here.
Really making it hard to cut that angle across.
Yeah.
The hip's not free to cut how you need.
Yep, he's got a lot of pressure, but Andrew is working his way around slowly but surely. He's doing a really nice job staying composed here.
This is very tight.
Yeah, this is tight. He's got the pressure down. He doesn't have the perfect angle on the triangle yet, but he's getting there, and he's very tight with it.
And that hooking of the leg is going to make it really hard for Adrian to get around and essentially like break out of that triangle now, because Andrew can cut the angle a lot more effectively with that leg.
Yeah. Adrian does have his right arm sort of down towards the mat. Oh, Andrew's gotten it pulled across now. Just as I started talking about how he was managing to keep it a nice defensive position with his inside arm there, Andrew's gotten a little bit more control over it.
Only about 10 seconds left in this match, I think.
He might make it.
And you're going to abandon it.
There it is. Time. It was really nice defensive work in the triangle there. That was a very tight triangle.
Yeah, stay calm the entire time, and just kind of waited out. You knew you were towards the end of the regulation time there, so there's no need to make any big movements if you know that round is not going to go your way, and so stay safe, don't get tapped, and then
And there's really considering the rule sets, this is a nice rule set. There's not much consequence to being in that position at the end of the round, because now we move into the points when these sorts of things matter.
And that's why I really like the egg guard rules. It gives someone for a variety of different games. You have your guys that are much more aggressive that can do that in the sub only period, and you have your guys that are much more tactical that also get a chance to kind of showcase and shine with their games. They're not as interested in the submission game. They'll take it if it's there, but they want to work the points on you. So that's I really like that rule set for this reason.
Me as well. And here we go. Second round, so in this round there are points awarded, and we have a takedown attempt. No points for that. It sort of looked like he was jumping in towards a takedown.
A little hard to
turn it into a guard pull.
I would turn that. I would count that as a pull. I think that's the correct way to call it out there. I think Ellis.
And he ended up on the bottom anyway, so it's a nice position. We're back to this sort of spider guard passing scenario that we were in before, but now here points matter. So legitimate pass from this position can really take a nice advantage for Adrian on top here.
Definitely. Now, Adrian's changed that grip from the inside pan grip to the outside of the butt grip
pan grip. Yeah. He's keeping nice pressure, keeping Andrew's hips both cleanly off the mat, which you do want. You want hip mobility in this spider guard position, but you want to be able to control them.
Really nice throw by. Toriano variation there.
Yep. Andrew's able to recover again, though.
Very impressive there.
Yeah.
But Adrian's now got that leg trapped more, and he can potentially high step and long step off it, but he's flattening the hips really well of Andrew.
Okay, and so Andrew was able to slide his knee in across Adrian's face against the over-under pass that Adrian had started moving into, and now we have a position where Andrew's knee is sort of up on top of Adrian's shoulder, preventing him from really executing the over-under pass in the best way possible, but you can still do it, and he's getting close here.
Yeah, doing a good job driving through.
Really beautiful pressure on the hips, pressure against that inner thigh. He's cleared the knee past his head.
He pulled the pants down
Pulled the pants way down. So we got a timeout to deal with some wardrobe malfunctions.
Zach, this is a very different style of blue belt match than when you and I were blue belts.
Yeah.
The level has come up, in the past couple of years so significantly.
Yeah.
Which is great to see.
Yeah, I think I was blue belt back in about 2010, and
you're very old.
Yeah, I'm old. I started very young too. You know,
you did.
Started at 16, 17. So
been a few years, Zach.
It's been a couple years.
So we're gonna get the pant fixed, and I'm curious where we're gonna reset them to.
It was very close to a pass position.
I think this seems good. This seems very fair. With the stiff arm, we recreated the position.
Yep. Andrew's able to get his leg up over top of the head there, which maybe he was or would not have been able to do. But I mean, you gotta reset somewhere.
Yeah, I think it was a reasonable enough restart position there.
Yeah, I think so too. He's working that same pass again, though. He's almost recovered guard, switching back to the other side.
He's got the timing down now. He's
he
really
does.
Starting to drive with his hips, but Andrew's doing a really great job, as we saw at the opening round there, of establishing his grips and really staying disciplined with, the re-gripping and preventing Tragero from breaking those grips off.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're in sort of a seated spider guard position. Andrew's working into some grips pretty nicely. He's had a little bit of time here. Doesn't look like Adrian's tired, but he's clearly trying to figure out what his best strategy is in terms of these grip games, because Andrew has established some pretty strong grips on the sleeves, and he's gotten his feet into the position that you really want your feet in for these sorts of spider guard situations. Although Adrian has now collected one of Andrew's feet.
Yeah, the top end grip though on the sleeve is going to be problematic for him, because Adrian's going to have a difficulty passing with that front knee, the front shin inside of the bicep there, with Andrew's grip so strong on that inside sleeve.
Yeah, and unless he can pass by the knee, get his hips past this free legs knee, which Andrew's really good at keeping that knee in front of his body. He has to
watch out for the triangle again.
Yeah, he does. He does, and I think Andrew's starting to look for it, but the leg that Andrew needs to clear his bottom leg, which Adrian was doing a really nice job keeping in between his feet. He's not been able to pass his hips by the knee, but he has been able to maintain control over that foot using his legs and hips and currently in his armpit.
A little bit of an inversion here from Adrian. From Andrew. Curious to see if he's going to try
coming
to
in for a plata nicely. Inverted into the plata. It was very nice. Now he's sitting up. He might be able to get this. He's very close. He's got the horse collar grip around the outside arm and underneath Adrian's neck here. He's putting a lot of pressure on this omoplata. Nice, and he finishes the tap. It's a really beautiful execution there. It was a really clean inversion off of the pass. He allowed Adrian to sort of keep the pressure on that he was putting on for the first 2 rounds here, and he used that pressure nicely to sort of invert out from underneath Adrian and into the omoplata, and gets the win with the finish there. A really clean technique from Andrew in that inversion and plata. So now we have Pete Martin and Jason Rosadi.
Yep, that's correct.
Ah, yeah. I had to look to Maine to see if I pronounced things correct there.
And if we mess it up, I apologize. Where names have not always been our strong point, but we are actively working on improving that.
And so we got Pete Martin out of Paramount BJJ and Jason Rosadi out of Matsera/Legion. Pete Martin is on the left in white here.
And Pete immediately pulls there. Looks like he's going to immediately go for the inversion game to that outside leg. I'm assuming he's going to want to play the leg lock game there, just given how actively he's trying to pummel his feet to the inside there and then invert on the outside. Really aggressively hunting for this heel hook. Nice saddle entry on the top.
Yep.
Going immediately for the heel hook.
Collecting both legs pretty nicely here. This is a nice something that technically is really important to do in a lot of these leg lock situations, especially as people have gotten used to the entries and defending them. Controlling both the legs is becoming more and more important. See, he's lost. Pete had been working on collecting both of those legs, and he lost one. And so it looks like Jason's able to sit up because he's got that leg clear. But
really nice knockdown by Pete.
Yep.
There. Really, he threaded his outside leg into Jason's far side leg in order to sweep him back over.
There goes collecting the far leg again.
He's got both now.
He's got both legs under nice control. And now he's doing a really nice job controlling that far knee, that outside knee. He was doing a really nice job managing that and keeping that in tight.
And that hook, that reap hook is really doing its job there well. He's got it dug really nice into the thigh there. Now we're going to get some counter heel hook action from Jason here.
Seems a little risky from this position, though. Jason doesn't have extremely good control over Pete's hips, and so
you're gonna get into a shootout position here. Jason's doing a good job.
Jason's doing a really nice job managing that
pushing
ankle.
It out, rolling.
There
and
we
he's
go.
Free there.
A little bit of counteraction led to some changes in the way that Pete was attacking the legs there, and it was enough disruption for him to get free.
Yeah, very nice work, very nice staying calm, and in a deep leg lock entry, in order to fire off your own and get on top.
Yeah, that leg reap position was very challenging, and not a lot of people can get out of that cleanly. And it was a nice way to deal with the situation. Put a little pressure on yourself, and then roll through to get out.
Yep.
Now we have Jason putting a lot of pressure in from the sort of headquarters position.
Yeah, he's got his legs really low again. His knees are on the mat in order to prevent the inversion from Pete to get under again, because, you know, I'm guessing that is, you know, Pete's A game. And
seemed like he was looking forward again, Yep.
So if, you know, you deal with, a nice
flying triangle attempt. Always good to see.
Love to see it. Yeah, I'm curious to see if Jason will decide to go knees down on the mat again to prevent those entries. You know, once he closes the distance to get around. Yep, knees down on the mat again.
We have the names mixed.
Do we?
Yep.
Yep, we do have the names mixed.
Sorry.
So Jason is in white and Pete is in black. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that, everyone.
It did help that his name is on the back of his jersey.
Yeah, we could have caught that earlier, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so we have Pete working for the body lock now.
Really nice.
Jason tried to make an entry into the leg saddle again, and probably did it a bit too early with not as much control as he might have needed, and Jason was able to Pete was able to capitalize on that by grabbing up the body lock and reversing the position, starting to pressure into pass. And now he's landed into side control.
Oh, looking for that buggy choke there for a second. You see that leg come up?
It's gotten so popular with the Rutulo brothers hitting a couple, so.
Yep, I think Cade hit one this last weekend.
Yeah,
so,
he did.
You know, very, very impressive. Very nice to see that, you know.
Pete was putting a lot of heavy pressure down with that crossface from side control, but then moved to change positions a little bit, got loose, and then ended up in guard, and now Jason Rosadi's been able to hit a really nice, clean butterfly sweep off of the change in momentum there.
That's good. Going for a Nogi Ezekiel
looking
on
for
the top.
So excellent submission. I think it's highly underrated, and he's got nice shoulder position for it.
I like it because a lot of times it'll force your opponent to open something up. So he'll
Yeah.
go for it. Even if you're not looking to finish with it, you have to
And here we
address
go.
it.
He's got
he's
this
going
sub
for it for
in
real.
pretty nice. There we go.
And the combination with I like the combination with the chin strap there, because your lower side hand that's behind the head is already in position, and so they defend it by turning their head, and you can grab up to the chin strap, and that's a really nice combination from Jason here.
And with all these sub attempts here, some of them stronger, some of them weaker, but what he's doing, what Rosadi's doing here on top is keeping a lot of pressure on Pete Martin's face, which is it's frustrating to deal with, even if they're not legitimate or strong submission attempts. It's really challenging to deal with.
Bench press off from the bottom there to escape.
Escape from mount, but then a shuck by pass from Pete Martin on top, and he's back into side control with his own.
That's Rosadi on top.
Sorry, Rosadi.
Doing a good job, looking for a little bit of paper cutter. Just really putting nice pressure there, looking to kind of drive over and pass the mount. That is time for our opening round. We're going to move into the points round here. Yeah,
Jason Rosadi was putting a lot of heavy pressure on the face and neck there. It can be really frustrating to deal with that. We'll see if this little break in the action to change rounds and rules for the next round makes much of a difference there.
Yeah, it's a very, very quick round. I think we usually only give about 20 to 30 seconds. It's under a minute. It's very quick, depending on if LS needs to mop something.
Yeah, it looks like we have a little mopping happening. We're back to the action here.
Into the points section. Again, another pull from Rosadi.
Guard pull, and then an arm drag attempt right off the bat, which looked really nice, but Martin was ready for it.
So I'm curious to see if he's going to try to combo the butterfly guard with back to the mount, or if he's going to try to use it as an entry. Pete is really doing a good job of keeping his knees flat to the mat to prevent the inversions and entries into the legs.
Got elevated there with the sweep. Really nice elevator sweep from the bottoms, butterfly elevator.
Nice go behind to the back here.
Pete Martin was able to sort of base out into...
And a beautiful follow here from Rosadi.
He's got the back, nice. So he's got some points for that.
Mm-hmm. And they do award points for the body triangle here, which I'm a big fan of.
There we go. There's the 4 points. Yeah. Points for the body triangle always made a lot of sense to me.
It does.
Like that's in the rule set here.
Mm-hmm. And we're seeing that more kind of prominence recently, as it's just such a great way to fight from the back.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, Jason going to mount here and fighting again for that Nogi Ezekiel.
Yeah, he's got himself another 4 points, so Jason's up 8. Now Pete Martin was able to escape the mount here, and in the process has started to attack an ankle, but Jason Rosadi is able to sit his butt down and prevent the inversion from the leg attack there.
Yeah, nice work there.
Yeah.
Yeah, up 8 with this much time, you kind of wonder, where he's going to go, if he's going to continue to have the aggressive style of attacking that he's been putting on, or if, you have more of an incentive to be maybe a little more conservative and play defensively.
Yeah, I think that at the rules meeting, at least, it was made clear that some of these stalling calls are going to be, there's another 3 points on the pass. The stalling calls are going to be a little bit aggressive for this, so I think de-incentivizing some of those,
which I like. I
that
think,
strategic
the sport
weighting
needs a little more aggressive stalling penalties. So I like that Edgard incorporates that into their rule set.
And Jason Martin on the pass made it pretty clear that he's going to continue trying to attack, which is, I think, the smart move considering the stalling rules here.
He's trying to feed and collect that arm that Pete is using.
Yeah, that Pete's got this arm deep underneath, sort of wrapped all the way around Jason. And that's an effective escape, but it can also get you in a lot of trouble because you're giving them your arm, essentially. And it looks like Jason's trying to collect that.
Yeah, he's really contained. He's got that knee nice and high, and he's blocking with his outside elbow in order to keep the arm framed up so you can't get your elbow. So Pete on the bottom there can't get his elbow in to frame effectively and make some space in order to get himself out of there.
And Jason's looking to collect that arm. He's testing it out. I think Pete's doing a nice job keeping the hand on the hip, which makes it difficult to really collect the arm to work for submissions. But it's also,
as soon as you get your hip mobile, you're off balance there because the hand's on it and pushing you away.
So we ended up in a sort of traditional north-south position. And Pete's he's going for the same approach, trying to collect that inside arm, trying to put a lot of pressure on the head.
Yep. I'm curious to see if he'll do that same mount transition we saw in the sub-only time, where he slides through and just slides, cross over to knee on belly to end up in that nice high mount or not. This is a very similar setup he used before, but he's more in the north-south than he was prior.
I think that might be why why Pete was had his arm down around the hips, because it makes that mount transition a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, you got to get to the arm at that point.
Yeah, but clearly Jason is aware of that defense and is moving to north-south to start attacking from there, where we got 1 minute left in the match.
Yep.
With Jason up 11-0 right now.
Mm-hmm. Really nice sprawl down. Curious to see if he'll go for the neck here.
Yep.
Hands right in front. Sits back for the
guillotine,
and he gets the tap.
tap.
Very nice transition.
It's very nice. Very nice, clean chin strap guillotine. Pete rolled through in an appropriate way, but the guillotine was locked in and it was a little too late. It was sort of a last-ditch effort to get out of there, but Jason Rosadi takes the win with the guillotine after being up 11-0. It was a really dominant performance there.
Yeah, really nice performance from both guys, but Jason really put it on in the point section there and, getting by both the back and the mount.
Yeah, there were clearly times where...
Yep. And we got Quinn in the blue, and we have Zach Cantler from Method MMA in the black.
Quinn pulled guard right away, and Zach Cantler has moved to passing almost immediately. He's almost a body lock position without his arms locked up, but he's staying low on the hips. He's just about cleared the knee, but Quinn is keeping a hand stiff on the inner thigh.
Going for that buggy choke.
Going for the buggy choke.
Yep. And he's got the initial setup. Now he had it with his forearm upright. Typically the buggy choke is done with the forearm down, so you can pull the chin in or the back of the calf in for the leg. I'm curious to see if he's going to keep going for that. Being a 10th Planet guy, that's really where that choke originated, or where I am most familiar with that choke coming from.
Popularized by them, at least,
Definitely
for sure.
Popularized by them. But Zach's doing a good job maintaining nice shoulder pressure and kind of facing neck pressure there.
Quinn's trying to
north-south.
Quinn's trying to keep the hips away with his arms staying real stiff, but that can be pretty risky sometimes, especially if you have a guy that likes to collect those arms.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think it was keeping the pressure off of him, but now Zach's moved to more of a traditional side control and
doing a good job of blocking that knee from coming up for the buggy choke.
He's doing it, yeah.
Being preemptive with it as opposed to trying to pull out. He's actually just fighting the knee with a hand. It's definitely a way to keep the pressure on the top end, but you're definitely closer to getting hit with that choke.
Right, and that
by
choke
choosing that defense.
That choke is definitely effective, but it's also a lot more effective when the person doesn't know it's coming. So you get decreasing returns on attempts from that choke as the match goes on. But also, I mean, Zach has to keep it in mind that it's in the repertoire. It's an option.
Yep. Moving a nice neon belly here, potentially going to slide over, or even just kind of cook him a little bit on the bottom there.
He's doing a really nice job keeping his toes tight to Quinn's hips here too.
That nice hip hook with the feet.
Yeah, it's hard to deal with on the neon belly.
Really nice active top work there. He knew he was starting to lose position. He didn't want to get caught back into the guard, and so he transitioned to north-south, get away from the legs, able to flatten Quinn back down to the bottom, and then continue to work.
Yeah, he's doing an excellent job staying mobile on top. Yeah. I think Quinn's doing he's clearly making good attempts to get back to the guard. And he seems good at these attempts, but Zach is very mobile and is taking what's being given to him in terms of positioning and is moving around nicely.
Yeah, Zach's doing a great job of staying just far enough away from the legs to get Quinn to start to have to commit to retaking the guard, and then being able to transition back to north-south and just actively stay on top there.
And he's getting a little bit of control. He's sort of trying to set up. Here we go. Okay, Quinn has been able to re-guard now. It came off of a sort of an arm submission attempt. It looked like Zach was sort of sitting up and created a little bit of space to collect that arm, and then Quinn was able to capitalize on that and is now pulled back to guard.
Kind of going for that high rubber guard, but Zach's able to pull out. Zach with a nice guillotine jumping pass there.
And back to north-south with Quinn sort of putting the stiff arm pressure on the hips again.
Really extended there. Like he's making an effort to really keep those hips far away, potentially leave his arms open there.
But Zach didn't take the bait on those arms and has worked his way back around to side control and then down to mount, where he's laying heavy chest pressure on the face and sits up to start collecting arms here.
He's in a nice midpoint for the mount there. So now he's further on the hips.
He's
but
down on the hips now.
He's trying to press through and get that arm off of Quinn's body. And you're going to jump for an outside armbar.
Quinn's taking advantage of the space again with a re-guard. Quinn's doing a nice job of taking advantage of the space when he's given it. Zach's doing a nice job making sure that doesn't happen very often. But
a little entry into the leg lock there from Zach, potentially a thing of more to come.
Yep. Zach looks very comfortable in these guard positions here. But he's pulling that butterfly, and when he pulls that butterfly, Zach's able to sort of just hop pass over top of it. He's looking for the buggy choke again.
Doing a really good job of framing that low side leg to prevent Quinn from locking up his legs together.
Zach's smiling at the attempt here. He's got a nice frame going where I think he was very safe from the buggy choke. But
well, you had two things there. You're going for a nice guillotine here.
Nice guillotine.
Seated guillotine from kind of the top of the guard.
Yeah.
Curious to see if he's going to roll it over and move into an arm in.
He did, but in the process, he's ended up on bottom. He definitely rolled through to try to hit that submission, but and now
guard pass from Tim.
There's a nice knee pinch pass from the top. He collected the knees from Butterfly, held them together, and high stepped over right at the end there.
And now moving to the point section.
It was an exciting first round there.
Yeah, good. Zach really put a ton of pressure on.
And
it was throwing nice subs up from the bottom, both on the guard and the triangle attempts and the rubber guard attempts, but Quinn really stayed disciplined on top.
And at the end there, we got to see a little bit of offense from him too.
Yeah.
He definitely didn't quit in that match despite all that pressure. You know, that pressure can be mentally very taxing.
Yeah, it was
nice.
Good.
It's nice to see that him mount some offense in the last 30 seconds there. Hopefully we get to see a little bit more of that in the second round where those types of sweeps count for points.
Yep, good to see from both guys. I assume we're going to see a pull here very quickly from Quinn. Pull and potentially going to get past here and get some points. Yep, moving to north-south.
Got 3 points for Zach on top after that nice pass. Looked very similar to the things that we had seen in the first round.
Yeah. Yep, really playing the game that we saw him, implement then.
Yeah.
We're seeing, again, Quinn reaching up really high to keep those hips away. In fact, that's really interesting. He actually jumped over the pressure.
Yeah.
And you're not able to keep contact with someone's hips there if you press them far enough out. If they actually release a little pressure and jump over, it's very hard to track their hips there. So
yeah, it kind of seems like Quinn's waiting for him to take the bait on one of those extended arms, and Zach's not interested.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like he's sort of baiting that up. with that distance, and Quinn really just wants to get that heavy pressure game.
Yep, and we've seen that from some of the Temp Planet guys. They'll give you something that looks like a submission attempt or something that you should hit a submission on and then work their game off of it.
Yeah, very, very, very counter-heavy, which is good.
It's good. It's nice. But it's not working as well as it can here. Zach's not taking the bait. He can't stand heavy on the pressure again.
Is Zach back in the half guard? I can't quite tell what Quinn's like.
No, he's not.
Through. And Quinn going
Another
for that buggy choke
attempt. He's reaching for those legs, trying to collect Zach's arm and head in some sort of position, whether it's a buggy choke or not. He was going for the far leg.
There's also a way you can re-guard there. I'm curious to see if potentially he's actually trying to get the foot in front of the close side shoulder and push off of it from that bottom position. Not something we see a ton, but definitely something that is possible there. And Quinn does have the flexibility to pull that off. But
that's clear.
Zach
back into knee ride.
Very disciplined on top there.
I really like the way that he's playing this knee ride. It's nice and low with heavy, heavy pressure in through the knee. It's really disrupting for a bottom game to play the knee ride that low and controlled.
Potentially looking for a Kimura here.
And he transitioned nicely into this Kimura attempt. Quinn's able to collect the leg, which makes this Kimura a little bit harder to hit, but it's still definitely a lot harder. But it's definitely still possible. And he went for the counter on the bottom there for the overcommit to the Kimura.
Yep.
And Zach had to respect it and gave up the submission.
Very good sequence there.
It was a very nice sequence. Very technical jiu-jitsu from both of them. Here, Quinn's keeping his elbow this time. Instead of using his hand, he's keeping Zach's hips away with the elbow, a nice stiff elbow there. And it's clearly
doing that on one side versus when Zach goes to the full north-south, he'll tend to extend with both hands on the hips. But the one side, he's favoring that low elbow push to keep the space away. I think to keep the pressure from being put on the chest there.
That makes sense, and I think it is disrupting that pressure quite a bit.
And he's retained the guard with it.
Yeah.
So Zach's back in that really high three-quarter guard.
Yep.
Potentially going to look to pass off that and score some more points.
To half a little bit, almost headquarters kind of position. Quinn's able to keep, what is that, K guard. With that bottom. Very similar to a K guard. Holding on to that bottom leg. Oh. And
interesting
approach there. So
2 points for Quinn there on the sweep.
Zach tried to pressure through with a baseball slide and then turned the corner to try to change directions back to the other side. And Quinn was able to capitalize with a sweep. Although I don't think points were awarded for that.
They were.
They were.
Yeah, they got 2 points on that.
That was nice. And so now we have a 2-3 match, one pass.
And potentially have an arm-in triangle here, actually. Yeah, very, very deep. And Zach's not going to get points till he actually is able to escape this.
And Quinn
very, very tight arm lock here.
Very tight arm lock.
Move to the Kimura grip.
There it is, and he finishes. That was a wonderful finish after
a
grueling match. Yeah, a lot of adversity from Quinn there, on Quinn's end there. Zach was playing a nice game. He was definitely dominating throughout most of the match. Played a really heavy top game and looked good doing it. Made a couple submission attempts, and then Quinn was able to capitalize on a very slight mistake, something that can work sometimes, that pass situation. Quinn was able to capitalize and then keep the momentum going in his direction with a triangle attempt and then finish with the Kimura from inside the triangle.
Really great sequence.
Wonderful sequence.
And if you didn't hear Ellis there, that match was made less than 12 hours ago.
Wow.
These guys stepping up on real short notice. Yep.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and we're starting off the round robin bracket for 135 guys.
Yeah. So we have we're in a clinch here. It's a nice stand-up. This is a little more stand-up than we've seen throughout this so far. Okay. So we have Carlos Alba in the pink rash guard, and Jamal Johnson in blue.
Yep.
We've got some nice underhook clinch game working, and guard pull attempt from Carlos, who stands back up right away after he lost contact on the way down.
Really
and a nice get behind. Jamal is sitting his hips out nice to defend this, but Carlos has a good grip around the body and one hook in. And he takes advantage of that situation by coming up, but Jamal, really athletically beautiful here, is able to sit his hips out and come back up to top and ends up in top half guard after that really nice sequence from both of them. Great defense and a great go behind.
And almost got the back there. He was unable to get that top grip on the shoulder to kind of settle him down, but did a great job here. Let's see his guard game.
We got Carlos in half guard here, and he's being extended pretty nice. Jamal's doing a nice job extending, but also Jamal's legs are sprawled out pretty far. It can be challenging to pass from there when you don't have your own hips underneath you.
But the top pressure is good here, and he's also got Carlos's arm elbow pushed away from his body. He's so low that he's got a good frame in, but the elbow is starting to creep away from the body, and it's kind of difficult to hold that there at length.
Yeah.
Jamal does a great job passing him out there.
Kept that heavy pressure up on the head and arm, and was able to slide his leg through straight to mount. He's looking for a topside triangle there for a second and missed it. And then Carlos attempted to collect the leg from the miss, and then we end up back in a standing guard position. It was a nice sequence again. Yeah,
I love it. Again, I love when you see guys, fight, and then you'll see an attack and then a counter attack immediately off it. That's for me, that's great jiu-jitsu. It's fun to watch.
Going for the Kimura pass and then actually trying to hit it.
Back on the feet.
Back on the feet. This is
Carlos with the whizzer there. Or the Russian, sorry.
Yeah, the Russian. Tried the Russian takedown throw.
Didn't kind of commit his hips where he needed to as much.
Yeah.
But Jamal did a good job of cutting the corner and really pulling that arm out.
Sure did. And now we end up in a guard situation, which it seemed like Carlos was okay with. Kind of seemed like he would be happy to hit the takedown, or he was okay with being in guard, and this is where he's landed.
Yep.
So we have a half butterfly position, and now Carlos is working up into a rubber guard variant.
Yep.
And Jamal able to pass off of that rubber guard variant. As soon as that thigh came up towards the shoulder, Jamal was able to hook underneath. He's laying heavy pressure in. He's still technically not passed, and there it goes. Carlos was able to hang on to that foot for a couple seconds longer than...
Got him in a bit of a cradle here, actually.
Yep.
He's pushing the knee up to the top of the head. Jamal is doing a really good job of keeping that low side knee behind Carlos's back to keep Carlos framed away, so that when he turns down and gets shoulders flat to the mat, he can come in and mount like he just did. And then he actually
he started
to the side.
Yeah, he started coming to mount. He played that nice. We saw it earlier. He went into knee ride and then tried to transition from knee ride over to mount. And Carlos was able to do something to defend that really nicely by collecting the second leg on the way through and ended up in a half guard.
Jamal's potentially looking for an arm in guillotine from this position here. He's got his arms wrapped up. He has both arms, and he is searching to get under the neck. I'm curious to see if he's going to use that as a passing position or potentially going to try to sub from the half guard here.
It's real high to get his leg out. Carlos is hanging onto that leg.
Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to change the angle on the hips, but he's going for the guillotine there.
He's going for the guillotine.
It's going to be very, very hard to hit it from that position.
I think you can get it. He might have been able to get the tab from the twisting pressure there, but I don't think that he was going to be able to finish the guillotine. And neither did Carlos.
Hard spot to finish from the guillotine.
Very difficult.
Carlos is looking for that cross-side Kimura with the head low.
Jamal's doing a nice job keeping his head pressure into the chest, though, which makes that guillotine or that Kimura very difficult to land. It's a nice threat, though.
It is a nice
threat.
Here
we end up back in standing guard after that attempt.
And through that threat, you can make the space. Now this is a much more even position with Carlos on the bottom. I don't think Carlos has any problem playing from the bottom here.
Seems like that's where he wants to be, or he's at least very happy to be there.
Yeah. And now
we have time
into the points period.
Exciting first round, though.
Yeah, all these matches have been really good. It was just kind of one of the hallmarks of Egg Guard. The matchups are a lot of fun. The rule set really facilitates a lot of action and a lot of really entertaining matches, which is great. And he gets a chance to showcase some of the more local, more Maryland guys.
Yeah. And I think with a rule set like this, it's a great way to showcase some local guys.
Yeah.
You have an opportunity to really show off what you're capable of.
One of the reasons I'm very happy to commentate Egg Guard.
Now we're going to move into the points section, points round of this match.
Yep. Curious to see if we're going to see more of that takedown, aggressive takedown work from Carlos that we saw at the beginning of the no points round of the sub-only section of the match.
You know, typically you don't see as much when you have these sub-only portions of the day. You don't see as much of that aggressive takedowns. It's a lot of energy to hit those. So I imagine that we're going to see more of that now because now that pays off. Now you get points for it. Yeah.
You know, if either guy is somewhat willing to wrestle or, you know, play from the feet, there's 2 points to be had here.
Yeah.
For the person that gets takedown. But Carlos
we do get a guard
to pull there. You know, worked for it initially and then was comfortable enough to go for the pull.
Looking for that arm drag very nicely, but Jamal was ready for it, planted his hand down on the mat and was able to spin around start to pass to the outside.
Carlos did a great job there throwing that low side leg to stop the pass.
Very good job with it. Now he's
looking
attacking.
to collect the heel hook. In a standing heel hook, which is very hard to hit because there's no control of the knee line there.
But he's able to transition it down to an entanglement position before hitting a takedown attempt and rolling through.
Yeah, no points there, though.
No points.
Carlos still on from the bottom.
And another guillotine pass attempt here.
Looks like actually like an anaconda choke.
Yeah. Carlos is keeping...
Ooh, mounted arm and guillotine transition. Very, very tight.
Very
tight. He's in full mount here. We got a little bit of a hover hand, I think. I'm not certain if we're going to get a tap here or not. Jamil is looking to change the position there.
Switched it from the arm and guillotine to a straight guillotine.
To just a high elbow variation of the guillotine. And Carlos is trying to pummel his legs.
It doesn't look like he has a lot of pressure on the neck where it needs to be to finish this a lot of times, but also Carlos is in a really tough spot here where it's going to be hard for him to get out of this position.
And if he does,
so much control.
There's 4 points there to be had for Jamil.
Yes.
And he gets the tap.
That's just a tough position to be in. Eventually, you're going to have to...
That mounted guillotine is such a hard thing to fight.
And it might not put you out, it might not put you to sleep, but you're not getting out of it right away. It might put you to sleep though too.
Oh, you can definitely put people to sleep with that. It's one of my go-tos. I really am a big fan of that position.
And so we have Jamal Johnson taking that match
mounted
over
guillotine.
Carlos Alba from by mounted guillotine in the second round. It was a really nice match though. Very aggressive from both players.
A lot of fun. Really great showcase for both guys.
Absolutely.
We got David Tyrell versus Pookie Kim.
Pookie Kim in the black and David Tyrell in brown.
In the brown 50-50 rash guard.
Pookie Kim coming down from Henzo Gracie, Philly.
From where you used to be, around your area, where you used to be from.
Yeah, I did a lot of my training up in Philly. Different team, but it's a wonderful area to train jiu-jitsu.
Both guys very tentative at the beginning here.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Looks like an immediate
nice guard
pull
sit
from David. Immediately into the inversion game.
Kind of seems like both people are where they want to be right now, though. We have Pookie Kim entering into a leg lock from the top. It's hard to see right now, but it looks like David Tyrell has moved his knee past the knee line and is well on his way to getting out of here.
Yeah, I was curious to see if there's going to be a pass attempt off that. Both guys seem very content to play from bottom here.
Yeah. And we're back up to the standing open guard with Pookie Kim on top.
Looks like Pookie Kim's going to try to enter into
this. Yeah. He's looking for those leg locks from top. He's moved to an outside Ashi.
We have the crossbody nice from Kim here.
Yep.
All the way over. Fighting
David's ankle is pretty deep in there, though, and it's hard to finish when the ankle gets that deep, and he was able to pressure into it and is starting to come up to the top. And so I think his defense is looking really nice, despite Pookie Kim's control.
A little bit of a topside heel hook action there as well.
Yeah, quick attempt just to see what would happen.
Yeah. You know, in that position, there's really nothing wrong with trying that, because if they react, then you're able to see the reaction. If they don't, then there's no harm, no foul for it.
Yep.
David's done a really good job of keeping really heavy pressure on that standing foot.
Yep.
But Pookie has switched to the X guard there and keeps going between the X guard and the single leg X. I'm curious to see if he's going to thread that low side knee leg all the way over and try to knock him down. But he's gone to actually the 50-50 body triangle there.
And Pookie's control here has been really nice. This is a sort of stalematy kind of position because David's defense has been exactly what it should be.
Yep.
Pookie's
Really
collected underneath the leg now and has David's ankle up on his shoulder. You can turn this into knee bars with a couple adjustments to your position, but you do lose quite a bit of control of the hips when you do that from this position. So
you've got to spin your hips around to the other side, and it takes a second. You're much better off going for either the ankle lock or for the heel hook there. Potentially even going to go for a calf slicer here if David makes the full turn. And again,
so we're back to this 50-50 position with Pookie collecting the straight ankle lock grip on David's ankle
going
here.
single leg X and actually going far side X guard there with that low leg for Kim.
And then sort of that awkward half guard position that we end up once in a while.
Yep.
This is an awkward position for both players. Usually, there's not
it's real hard to play off of because you have to really a lot of times the first person to disengage from this particular leg battle loses, and so at least in the current meta, it's very disadvantageous to be the first guy to go in this position.
Yeah, we end up with some long stalemates here, and it's strategically sound. It's not to anyone's discredit for stalemating this position, but in this position, Pookie can work around to take David's back really nicely, and that often happens if David's the first one to move. And see here, Pookie opened up as the first one to move, and it allowed David to pass, which was the other option that could happen there, really. It kind of seemed, this is the first round, so there's no points for passing, so it kind of seemed like Pookie was willing to take the pass on that particular situation just to get things moving again, it seemed.
Which in a no points, which is kind of the beauty of this first no points section. You're willing to try stuff and make stuff work because it's not disadvantageous to do so.
Yeah.
Potentially even, get a little bit of a rest.
Yeah. And now David was able to move to mount.
He's looking for that arm triangle, though. He's got the arm across, and he's actually looking like he's trying to fold his head down and trap that arm.
Pookie seems very calm about this, though. He's not making much of an escape attempt.
No,
and hasn't really all the way through collecting mount. Pookie didn't really seem like he was doing too much to defend it. It looked like he maybe is comfortable in mount and is okay being there.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. It looks like his far side arm away from us. I can't really tell what he's doing with his hip there. It seems to be just out and not pressuring on David's hip at all. So I'm curious to see what his game plan is here because he's really just sitting in a low head and arm choke. But David seems content to just stay here and doesn't really want to fall off to sync up the choke.
It doesn't make sense to do too much here on top. He's definitely got the advantage. This is sub only, though, so he needs to make something happen. But also, it feels very much like Pookie's waiting for some sort of action to move, and so you should probably be pretty cautious there. We've seen there are jiu-jitsu players in the world that like to be mounted because they can hit a lot of leg locks off of the transitions that happen from mount.
Which is also why David's keeping his legs nice and low. The hips are really driven in to the hips of Pookie here. Yeah.
It's not a lot of action happening right now, but this is also smart jiu-jitsu. People are doing things that are cautious and appropriate and make sure that you don't lose your match from being a little over-ambitious.
Yeah. And again, you're in a no points section, so it is the time that if you want to buy your time. Really tight topside Americana.
And Pookie uses that to create a little bit of space after he's defended nicely, and now we're back up to standing. Nice low single. It seemed like he decided not to try to finish it, which I guess kind of makes sense in a no points portion of the evening or portion of the match.
Yep. Going into the shin guard here.
He's got pretty good control of that inside hip. David sat that hip down towards Pookie.
Yeah, I'm curious.
He's now starting to try to collect the legs himself. He's got an inside reap. But Pookie's hips are facing away, so it's going to be kind of challenging to turn that reap into anything.
Pookie going for a Kimura, and David's going to counter it. Gets the
counter
tap.
Got the tap. Really nice counter there.
Very quick from the Kimura to the armbar.
Came in with a somewhat loose Kimura. Kind of looked like he was intending to use it to transition his position somewhere stronger. And David Kim was able to come around and counter very nicely.
Very good match.
So we had David winning with armbar.
Yep. Next match, we have Joe Despezo and Steve Joachim.
We got Joe Despaso out of Method MMA and Steve Joachim out of Studio 84.
Yep.
In the black and blue top with green shorts, we have Joe.
Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My bad.
Got it right this time.
You did get it right this time.
So we had Steve pulling guard pretty early and is clearly looking to enter to attack the legs from this sort of laying side control game. We see this every once in a while from people that play this sort of really casual side, almost like they're in side control from standing, where they're waiting for the person to come in and can collect the legs really nicely from this position.
Yeah.
It's a little bit dangerous once you move to the points because you can relatively easily get a pass from there, but
if you're looking for that sub, or especially looking to enter into a strong leg position, it's a very, very nice way to do that, because the way that you want to engage in that guard is the same that'll give you the entry to the legs.
Exactly, and that's what we're seeing here, and it's a smart strategy in the sub-only portion of this.
Yeah, Steve's doing a good job locking the legs here.
Yeah, he's got not the best leg entanglement position. His legs are on both of the outside. He's got a really nice grip on the straight ankle lock, but he's also got Joe's legs. His legs are wrapped entirely around the outside, which is not exactly what you want. It's often
we're going for mirrored ankle locks here right now.
Yeah, and this is what can happen when you don't have inside control. But now it's moved. Steve's moved out.
Very, very low down.
Very low
down. The tap on the ankle lock.
Gets the tap on the ankle. It's really nice entry. Yeah, it was not an ideal entanglement from the start. And he slowly worked to the inside position, and then from that inside position was able to finish with the straight ankle lock.
Very nice work from Steve here.
And a quick finish.
Yep, quickest finish of the event so far. So who's who, Zach?
I don't know. I didn't hear him. So we got Brian Wonder.
Okay.
Brian Wonder in white and black here, and Rafael Garcia in red and black. We got some strong tie-ups here. Again, I'm seeing a little bit of wrestling.
Yeah, both guys looking to wrestle here, really push heavy on the head. That mirrored Russian tie there.
Some nice single entries, some sort of classic wrestling scenarios.
Very hard to hit that single entry off of that tie, though. There's so much pressure on the head, it's hard to get around that inside elbow in order to hit that single leg.
But it can often open up duck unders and go behind.
Yeah, definitely if you're going to combo off of it.
Yeah, it's a nice start to a sequence.
It is.
And then we see a beautiful throw.
What's the name of that
I think it was from the Japanese Whizzer.
Yeah.
It was very quick, though, so it was hard to see perfectly what was happening.
Basically a Seonagi variation.
Yeah, it's a Seonagi variation of some kind.
Very nice to see a nogi. Not something you see commonly.
No, especially once people get a little sweaty, but this is the time to hit it if you're going to.
Yeah, very quickly in the match.
Rafael ended up, from that throw, though, ending up in half guard. And
very good lockdown sweep there from Brian.
Yeah. Brian was able to hit the lockdown sweeps, extended Rafael out pretty far, got that back leg extended, and ended up hitting that lockdown sweep nicely. But Rafael was sort of looking for a mirror lock there for a second. And I think that the threat of that mirror lock helped him open his hips up in a way where now he's able to get to half butterfly, full guard variant over the half guard.
Yeah, I can't see what that other leg is. Is it between the legs of
it doesn't
Brian?
Look like it's his knee is up really high. So
now I can
basically
see it,
got a half butterfly.
Essentially. He's trying to actually scoop that far side leg over to the hip. I'm curious if he's going to try to come out the back with that, or if he's just really trying to get additional pressure to prevent the pass.
Yeah, but Brian is playing heavy pressure down on the hips, and it's making it difficult for Rafael to really move anything. And he's sneaking that knee through slowly but surely against that pressure, but it's going to be hard to work with it unless some of that pressure is relieved somehow.
Yeah, but Brian was doing a really good job blocking that knee, but trying to get around the guard here, and looks like he
succeeds. Yeah. Scoots his hip in to secure the side control position. and then transitions to a standard base side control. Raphael's doing that that defense that we saw a little bit earlier in the match, or in the day today, scooting his arm all the way underneath. Playing very defensively on the bottom. He's not really, Raphael's not really going for too many strong escapes, but he's keeping a good distance away. He's keeping Brian a good distance away, and it's making it difficult for Brian to put the pressure on that he seems to want to.
And he's been keeping that knee up nice and high that prevents, that makes you stay active from the side control there.
Brian was able to move to mount with a head and arm guillotine, and he gets the tap with that. It was a really nice setup there. He had sort of from side control while Raphael was keeping him away. He's keeping that distance, and he was able to collect the chin strap grip while Raphael was keeping that distance. He had the space to collect the grip, and then he used the grip to transition to mount and was able to finish that way.
Very nice guillotine. That's actually the second mounted guillotine that we've seen of the day.
Yeah.
With a very actually similar transition there to roll through.
Yeah. It was beautiful pressure on top. Really nice control.
Very, very good work.
Next up, we have Chris Crawford versus Jamal Johnson.
Yep, I think this will actually be the last match of the super fights, and I think then we are going to move into...
No, this is the second round of the 135 bracket here.
My bad, Zach.
No,
You're
okay.
correct.
We just saw Jamal Johnson. This is Chris Crawford's first match today, though.
Yep.
We have Chris Crawford in the black and white with spats, and Jamal in the blue rash guard.
Yep, Chris is coming in all the way from Florida here.
Some nice, gentle, standing play here. Feeling each other out a little bit, and then
Crawford
Chris
going for that guillotine immediately.
pulls the head down and moves into the guillotine right away.
Really fun transition there. Goes from the guillotine and then tries to defend off the arm lock.
And then we're back to standing. These two guys are clearly feeling each other out a bit. That was a very playful entry that we just saw. And nice counters and nice defenses, but this is I like what they're doing here. I like that they're playing the game a little slow, figuring out what's going on, figuring out how the other person's going to approach the game for this match.
Yep.
There's an attempt at that similar Seoinage throw, but Jamal lost the arm on the process.
And then rolls through, and Chris is able to get to this referee's position into entry into the head and arm guillotine there.
Jamal was able to scoot out of it though, and now we're into a standing guard position with Chris on the bottom.
Look at that, Chris trying to throw the feet in there, that Marcelo style of double ankle sweep.
It's good disruption. I think a lot of people see it coming and know what's happening, but you still have to respect it.
And you still have to step out and commit for an arm drag there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's kind of what Chris was looking for a little bit.
He's doing a nice job controlling the head as well. Jamal really coming in deep, which it seems a little risky considering that Chris was really gunning for these guillotines here.
And Chris looking to take the back with the leg in. Going to move in, potentially into the mount.
Moves over to mount, but then Jamal bases out, and Chris ends up with the body triangle locked up in a seatbelt grip pretty nicely.
I'm curious to see where his far side hand is. I can't tell if that's under the other shoulder as well, or if that's across the neck. I think it's actually across the neck here.
There.
Yep,
they gave you the option to see it. So he's got that gable grip nicely in the seatbelt, which allows you to start working your arm in underneath the chin of your opponent and starts allowing you to start focusing on the choke without giving up that seatbelt grip too much.
Yeah, and you'll maintain the seatbelt grip for a very long amount of time with that grip. Now, Chris actually elects to potentially go for the arm there. Actually, he was trying to start to scoop underneath.
Yeah. Jamal sort of rolled into it to prevent that from happening, but Chris is able to switch his figure 4 to the other side in the process.
He's
so now
switched
Jamal
into the center now, and Chris is very, very good at making that figure 4 switch on the inside leg.
Jamal's doing a nice job staying in the direction that he should to defend against this body lock, though. It's a challenging position to deal with, but
Chris Chris doing a nice job of preventing that 2-1 on the arm, and he actually has the arm trapped while Jamal was going for the legs there.
Yeah.
While he kind of starts to fight for that choke.
He's down to the double unders, still working this body triangle. Just looks really nice for him. Jamal's doing a great job defending at the level of the hands, though, and so it's been really challenging. It seems it's really challenging for Chris to mount any submission offense off of this because Jamal's winning the hand fight until
for
here
the
when
the back here.
Jamal got a little loose with things, and Chris was able to collect the arm, but then off of that armbar attempt, Jamal's turned the corner and ended up in side control. Really nice play, really nice defense.
Yeah, great defense there, especially ended up on top from the back mount and the side control past the legs. That's some great work on top.
Extremely good. It's really nice. It's really challenging to get out of that body triangle position, and Chris was doing a great job keeping it. Jamal's defense was wonderful there.
Yeah. Now potentially Crawford again is going to enter on that heel hook that they both Granby through. Going to move not back to the center.
Move to a slightly different place on the side of the mat. There we go. Just feeling each other out again out from the top.
Yeah, again, they have the opportunity to do that in sub only because there's no points, so you can take your time a little more and and look for the entries that you want to.
Yeah. Chris taking a knee, thinking about pulling guard, changed his mind. Jamal swims in for the underhook really nicely, and then Chris pulls guard off of that. Seemed like he didn't want to deal with that underhook too much. It was
wasn't the most advantageous way to pull there.
No, it wasn't. But it also got him out of the underhook position, which is
great.
Good, yeah.
Flying triangle attempt from Jamal
at no cost. We're back up to standing right where we were. So interesting approach. Sometimes you can do things like that to keep your opponent on their toes. Just enough to end up getting single leg takedowns when they're thinking that maybe this guy's going to throw a flying triangle.
Yep. Crawford again with a nice gable grip on the guillotine. Isn't quite past Jamal's legs, and this is again very hard to hit. But now he is
passing, but Jamal was able to base out in the process.
And again, with that mounted guillotine transition over from the side control that we've seen a couple of times today.
Yeah,
very high up, potentially going to transition that either to a Kimura or to actually step over the leg and go for a triangle.
Jamal reverses the position. This is challenging to do after having that guillotine on. It's a tough spot to be in.
To have the wherewithal to kind of be able to bridge like that and then get centered.
So we have a full guard position. Chris laying back, waiting to see how Jamal's going to start to try to act in here. See this a lot from that sort of strategy, a lot from guys that really enjoy playing the guard, where they sort of wait and see what happens and play counters off of it.
Yeah, if you're very comfortable with the guard, you're more comfortable playing off the counters as opposed to needing to initiate. If your opponent's going to give you something, they move, and then that gives you the opportunity to move next, and so it can be a lot more effective strategy to go into a match and play like that.
Absolutely, and we want to see a scissor takedown into a leg entanglement that's not ideal, but
yeah, Chris's legs are very. Not quite all the way are in. He's got his knee free from this knee line, although the ankle lock and the heel hook is still there.
Yeah.
And just have to be worried about it. But Chris is doing a good job taking his close side arm and pull open the legs of Jamil there, especially with the knee not being clear. I can't actually see from where I am where the foot is.
It's hard to see from our angle, but also it's pretty clear that Chris is also locked up, and that's time anyways.
Yeah.
Chris had also locked up his own straight ankle grip, and so that becomes a much more even position at that point. So we have time on that match. A lot of fun attacking throughout that.
Yeah. Now we're going to move into the point section of the match and see where it goes.
See, these Chris in particular had a strategy that seemed very ideal for the sub-only portion. Let's see if he changes it up for the points portion of the match, where that strategy might not sort of sit and guard strategy might not pay off as cleanly as it does in the sub-only portion of the match.
Yep, this definitely gives something for everyone, which is great. We now have a 5-minute point section where you need contact to sit guard.
And here we go. low single attempt.
Nice low single attempt there.
And a second, which almost
did a really great job chopping at the shoulder, but Chris does a nice job entering, taking the back there.
Inverts and takes the back off of that.
Potentially going to lock up a triangle from the back here. Has an arm in, and he's got Chris Crawford has a really nice grip on Jamil's hand there to prevent him from swimming the hand inside. I can't exactly see what Chris has in from the triangle from the back. I can't tell if it's an arm and a half or if it's...
I think it's an arm and a half at this point, which that half arm's actually a disadvantage being in there because I think it's a little bit defensive.
Yeah.
But Chris is working his way inside Jamal's elbow, potentially thinking about transitioning to the armbar here.
Yep. Yeah, he's very, very high.
And he switches to the armbar.
I'm going to switch to the Kimura from the armbar.
And now back to the straight arm lock. Jamal doing a wonderful job defending there. Fantastic jiu-jitsu from both of these guys.
Yeah, that is a really rare position to see guys get out of. Very, very impressive defense.
Yeah, and especially considering that Chris transitioned 2-3 times to different submissions there. He was doing a really nice job chasing down the submission, and Jamal was still able to get free.
Yeah, very, very exciting transitions there. We're going to roll into
a little bit of a spadal. Ah, not all the way. That's the dream.
It is. It is, Zach.
So Chris, with one leg locked in, not with a hook, but he's got his leg locked around Jamal's thigh.
The inside thigh there.
And is trying to collect the far arm.
He has a lot of options here, submission-wise and position-wise here. It looks like he's actually trying to pull the body lock in and just go to a very traditional back mount, but he's going to try to trap Jamal's arm before he goes to that back mount.
Gives a really nice bit of control and allows you to start moving into submission attempts immediately after collecting that second hook.
And it also, if the roll happens like this, it allows you to follow the roll.
Which is exactly what happened.
And
now he gets his 4 points for the mount position.
I think it's actually the first points on the board.
I think that is the first points on the board.
It's always great when there's that many sub attempts and then you realize that there's just points this far into the match.
Well, it was also it might have been a clean takedown earlier, but Chris was able to turn it into a back take.
Yeah.
And so there were no points that ended up being awarded for that. We're back to the feet. Jamal did a nice buck escape from the mount there.
We got 2 minutes left in this point section of the match.
With Chris up 4-0. We're back to some hand fighting. It's more of this sort of casual hand fight play that we saw throughout the whole of this match.
Jamil has a very characteristic kind of Muay Thai stance there.
Yeah.
Keeps going up to the high guard with the hands, touching the gloves together.
Some habits don't die.
They do not. I'm curious to see if we're going to see another scissor leg takedown attempt from Jamil, or if we're going to see him just really kind of dig into that outside low single that we saw at the beginning of no points up in the point section.
Another single attempt, but Chris is able to stand up before Jamal is able to secure the takedown all the way.
Yeah, I mean, I think in the sub only section that would have been an easy guard pull.
Yeah.
For Crawford to take off of, because that seems to be his preferred entry, but
it's strategically much smarter to stand back up here.
Yeah, because you don't give away the points. So that was really good thought from Crawford to know, and nobody in his corner. He just knew that himself.
We have a guard pull.
Crawford pulls right into the outside leg reap.
Sets up the saddle.
Saddle into the heel hook.
Collects the far leg from that saddle position with the inside reap.
Just over a minute, under a minute left to go in this match.
Jamal's hips are scooted in real far underneath Chris. It's going to be hard to finish here, but Chris is in very good position to move into the finishing position.
Yeah.
And Jamal has a lot of work to do here, but he does get his leg free and starts sitting up.
Now, if he comes up, will he get 2 there? Did Crawford start on the bottom?
Yeah, Crawford did start on the bottom, and he might be giving up 2 if Jamal is able to come up to the top. But Chris is able to collect that leg a second time.
Yeah.
And is looking for that heel hook again, or that straight ankle lock again.
Now looking for a toe hold.
Toe hold, switching back from the outside and switch down. Chris is doing a really nice job in this match, transitioning between submission options. It's something that you see a lot more in no-gi matches and makes no-gi a little bit possibly more exciting in certain scenarios, is this ability to switch between these submissions. Chris is doing an excellent job of it.
He is. Punching going to see an omoplata entry here from the 50-50, and that's time.
That's time. So Chris takes this one on points, 4-0. It was a very good match, though. Some nice submission attempts from both guys. It was good jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, great match. Really great work on in both the regulation and in the points section of the match. Fun to see from both guys.
Yeah. So now up we have Mike Turpin and Elijah Azakar. Elijah in all black, Mike Turpin in a very trippy space rash guard.
Yeah, I like that. He's one that a couple of times we've commentated his matches before. That's the old school hypnotic space rash guard. And yeah, it always chips me out to look at it, and especially in the front center with that big H.
It's a nice strategy.
It is. I've always been curious, like, what it actually is like when you're up close to it, if it actually throws you off a little bit, because I tend to look at the chest a lot. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at his chest, and I'm a little tripped out. It's like, it's just distracting enough.
It's a 6-minute sub-only match.
Elijah pulls guard right away.
Yep.
And Mike Turpin seems to be happy to be on top. Sits his knees down and stays nice in a tight little ball.
Yep.
This is the heaviest weight match that we're going to see today, I think. We got two guys probably, I'm not sure about exact weights, but they're in the heavyweight brackets of some sort.
Yep, definitely on that.
We've seen a lot of lower weights, and so it'll be interesting to see the contrast here, because jiu-jitsu's played very differently at low weights and heavyweights.
Oh, yeah, in a big way.
And so this is going to be probably going to be a nice contrast. Although that sweep looked like someone that you can hit with much less lighter weights.
Yeah, Eli's doing a nice job coming on top here.
It was a beautiful butterfly elevator sweep, and he's moving to mount here.
He's going to try to roll off the side. I'm curious if Turpin's going to be able to come up. Now, does great job transitioning in north-south.
Wonderful. It's really good position transitions from Elijah there.
Yeah. Doing a good job of turning the angle there, and then he's going to actually try to basket back up the leg of Turpin to put a nice, shoulder pressure and to continue to flatten him out in order to get him where he wants to get him.
Mike Turpin is doing a pretty good job keeping both of his arms in underneath Elijah, though, which helps ease that shoulder pressure that Elijah's trying to put down. He doesn't have the option to put that shoulder pressure in as nice because he can't really flatten Mike out that well.
Yeah.
And so it's a little bit risky because your arms are close, but at the same time you're keeping that pressure off you, which can be really important in these situations.
A really good job of Elijah to not get caught up in the guard there. He changes angles and the distance that he's walking around the guard well as Turpin tries to re-guard. And he's doing a good job of keeping his low side knee inside the gut and then preventing Turpin from getting his low side leg back into the guard or into the half guard.
Yeah, Elijah's movement looks fantastic on top here.
He's doing something really interesting here. He actually has Elijah has his top side arm pressuring the wrist of Turpin into his chest to prevent that arm from swimming out and actually starting to push on the shoulder.
He moves to knee right and then across to the other side, looking for the back for a split second there, and then settling into mount instead.
Yeah, really nice heavy mount. Looking for a gift wrap here, actually. Potentially going to go back to the mount here.
Got a little high, and Mike's trying to take advantage of it here, but Elijah settled back. His movement, again, looks great.
I can't tell if he has Turpin's arm.
He does have Turpin arm. Yeah, he's collected the back, and he's crossed his feet across Turpin's arm, and he's attacking the neck here. It's hard to see whether or not.
Yeah, from my angle, I'm having a hard time seeing the hand fight that's going on here. It looks like Elijah has his arm underneath the neck of Turpin, but I just can't see exactly where the shoulder position is there.
We saw some fingers, Heidens, which suggests that the arm's all the way around the neck, but Turpin keeps playing. He's pulling down the choke arm and
he's also slightly getting off angle.
There he goes.
Actually going to force Elijah to come back to the top here. Yep. Into the
so
mount.
he's not getting choked anymore, but he wasn't able to capitalize on sort of the transition there, and Elijah was able to come back to top mount after the.
Elijah's doing a great job using his weight to pressure down that arm of Turpin to prevent the rotation more.
Yeah, he is.
And again, we're back in this sort of referee's position, back take position. Elijah probably looking to roll through back to the back. He has that one hook in. He's trying to drive it in. We're just going to see him roll on the close side shoulder over to his back and take Turpin over with him. If he's probably going to wait until he has a really nice seatbelt there before making that commitment. As you know, that's typically what you see with bigger guys. They need that big control to pull both of them over with.
And Mike was looking... Oh,
Looking for
Mike's
a head and arm here. We have a gable grip on top.
a lot of pressure down on the hips there. Mike's looking... It seems like Mike is really trying to turn away to base out and maybe escape back to guard by getting back to that referee's position, but Elijah's doing a really nice job preventing him from capitalizing on those sort of transitions into the turtle position.
Yeah, doing a really, really good job here. I'm curious to see if he's actually going to go for the arm there because that backside and that leg is so high up, and she's going to actually step it over. Yep, and there it is.
Mike turned in to try to roll through, and Elijah was able to keep control of that close arm. So now we're in a tough position for Mike.
See what Elijah did there? He locked his legs underneath the forearm of Turpin. That's like the best place you can put your arm because it prevents you from getting shucked off, and it lets you actually go to the slicer position from that arm.
It's hard to see where the arm is here,
yeah,
but
we're
this
looking
looks
at their backs.
very tight. If Mike's arms are still collected, if he still has control of both of his arms, this can end up being okay, but I think
tap. I'm not sure if it was the slicer or if it was the arm.
Hard to see what the finish was, but
Very,
Elijah's able
very
to
good
collect
transition.
the tap there. And a really, really nice display of jiu-jitsu from Elijah there. Wonderful movement on top. The dude got hot.
Shout out to the Black Beast.
Nice
Great
display of
positional
jiu-jitsu.
control there.
Really nice control, really nice movement on top. Very fluid. Maintained position wonderfully all the way across.
Great work.
So we have Sebastian Daniel from Sebastian Daniel and Chris Emery. Sebastian coming out of Ambush Jiu-Jitsu Club and Chris Emery out of Studio 84. They are dressed very similarly, so Sebastian Daniel's got a bun on his head. And Chris Daniel's in Studio 84 rash guard and shorts here. Otherwise, they're both in black and brown.
Yeah, Elijah was last year a slicer. It was a slicer.
It was a slicer.
Yep.
So the Elijah win was on the bicep slicer. Chris pulls guard right away. And we got a little bit of hand fighting from the guard position.
Yeah,
Chris.
Sebastian really wants to make that space there and keep that space. Looks like he's going to try to step through and blast through the guard with no grips.
And and Chris is able to capitalize on that fast movement, moving into a sweep, landing into the body lock position. Sebastian had butterfly guard and is starting to try to attack the low leg of Chris, but Chris is playing that body lock so tight, it's going to be hard for him to invert into anything. However, he moved into the Gogoplata position, which is a nice counter to that low body lock, but Chris is able to sit up and through. If you got the knee flexibility for it, that is a beautiful counter.
It's a great counter because it's you really have to respect it there because you don't want to get tapped with the Gogoplata.
Yeah, you don't. Also, just being in that position kind of sucks. Having someone's shin on your face is horrible.
It's not great. It's a bad way to get choked. So yeah, nice work. A really, really great counter. And
Smart
uncommon counter to see, especially from that straight mirrored position.
Yeah, very smart counter. Sebastian again trying some pretty aggressive, almost a cartwheel pass.
Yeah, he's back into the full guard
now. He's back
now.
in full guard.
But he's doing a really good job of keeping Chris's arms very, very high. So he's got a really tight gable grip, and he's got nice chest and shoulder pressure there.
Chris also has a little bit of good control over that head and arm, though, and I can't see the far arm that well. But if Chris is trying to collect that far arm for sort of the straight arm lock position, that kind of pressure might be able to backfire against Sebastian.
Yeah, I would agree.
Although Sebastian's now settled down, he's got his elbows in tight, and we're playing sort of a traditional guard position here.
Yep. But Chris really keeps going to that high guard, almost like a double bagger position or a double high ankle, high guard position with the ankles. I'm curious to see if he has a game from there, or if he's really just working on keeping pressure on, because Sebastian's doing such a good job of keeping that posture up nice and high. If he's trying to do that as part of his game or just as a tool to keep the pressure down.
Yeah, it can go both ways.
Yeah. Yeah, Sebastian's doing a great job with his base here of really pushing the hips away, and you can see that that Chris is kind of struggling to keep him down.
Yeah, but he is doing a nice job keeping the hand on the back of Sebastian's head. You know, it's hard to play in the top game. It's hard to play your top game when your head is pulled down, your chin's on your chest. And
yeah, you kind of have to address that first before you do anything else. For most passing scenarios.
Yeah. And Chris is doing a nice job switching his hands back and forth, keeping his hand on the crown of Sebastian's head to keep that chin down, and Sebastian's having a really hard time getting his posture back because of it.
Yeah, I mean it's a really hard position to kind of to address, especially in no-gi, because you don't have any grips to push against, and so you're stuck with like either the hips or the shoulders or even the armpits sometimes, and that's not a lot to work on sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris keeps going to pull this leg up for sort of maybe some high guard, rubber guard.
Yeah, for like almost like a double bagger position if both
Yeah.
calves are like that and you have both hands in. I'm not sure if he's going to go for that or go for a single. Potentially looking for a pendulum sweep there, lifting under that far side, that close side leg to us.
Sebastian noticed it right away, though, and collected his leg back in. And I think Sebastian was aware that that was an option, pulling his leg up. But sometimes pulling that foot up where you probably shouldn't be helps you get free from this sort of pulling pressure that Chris has.
Especially if someone's going to keep you really postured on the guard, you do have to open up as the passer a little bit because they're going to hold you in the guard for the entirety of the match if you're unable to get something open because, it's hard to open.
And that's clearly what Chris is looking for here. He's trying to get Sebastian to pick a leg up, and so we have this sort of cat and mouse game where Chris is playing really nice control on the top, and Sebastian has to respond to it. He's back into that high guard.
Yep. Yeah, I think the ability that gives you to posture someone and keep someone postured down is so strong.
He is looking for a rubber guard here.
Definitely a rubber guard. And he's looking for both. He's looking for the double bagger position here.
He is.
I'm curious if he's going to go for an armbar here or take this into a sweep, but it looks he's comboing the two. I think he definitely is willing to take either one here.
Yeah, and he's also been, throughout this whole guard sequence, he's been transitioning between attempts for these very high guard, rubber guard, double bagger positions into the straight arm lock position that we know there's a lot of sweeps off of as well.
Potentially even go double arm bar here if he gets both legs above the arm. He's actually trying to
collecting both arms pretty nicely.
It's a very, very hard position to get out of if you can't, get your posture up. Because you go from having to get your posture up to actually having to push both shoulders through.
Yes.
And so it kind of works counter to what you were looking for initially. But Sebastian's doing a really good job of pressuring into it, and that's going to work until potentially Chris can start setting up that double armbar position. Then he's going to actually have to push everything in.
Yeah, it's a nice defense until Chris is able to move into the position fully, and then if he's able to move into the position fully, then it becomes very challenging.
Yep.
Here we go. And Sebastian's able to move out and again goes for some really aggressive passing and ends up working towards him.
Right into a leg lock attempt.
Chris was very calmly and controlled, moved to the top position.
Yep. I can't tell how far Chris's arm is either in that darce or in that high elbow, arm in guillotine.
Yeah.
I can't see the far side.
It looks more like Darce
position
right now, and I think he's moved his hand around, so I think we're in Darce position.
Yeah, he's dropping that close side shoulder to us down, so that kind of makes me lean Darce, and there we go.
There it is. But Sebastian's got Chris's legs locked up and was able to get the sweep there, as I was going for.
Yep. Really good establishing a top position there.
Chris did a nice job locking in the Darce position, Darce arm lock position, but his hips weren't low enough to land it, and he still was in a half guard, so Sebastian was able to
nice counter work
nice
there.
Counter work,
it's always great to take someone's sub attempt and turn that into something positional for yourself.
Those momentum changes are huge, and if you can take advantage of them, the match can change in your favor quite quickly.
Definitely.
And that's what looks like it's happened here. We've seen a lot of dominance from Chris. Even that full guard wasn't very action-packed, but he was definitely winning a lot of the exchanges there.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got Sebastian on top in neon belly, sort of looking like he's trying to move into mount position. There's a real change of pace after that sweep.
Yeah. Yeah, trying to go to neon belly, but not really wanting to commit to the throw by to the full mount there.
Yeah.
Really happy and content to keep that shoulder pressure on top.
He's got a really nice crossface shoulder pressure going. He's maintaining that crossface really strong as he moves this neon belly. It can be really frustrating to deal with. We're getting a little low on time, though.
Yep.
There we go.
30-second rest, and we are back into the point section of the match. I'm very, very curious to see how this goes.
Yeah. This was both these guys' games seemed to like that they would play really nicely for points. Sebastian was very aggressive on the passing, but not in particular using a ton of control on the way in, which can be extremely effective.
Yeah.
But Chris is doing a nice job countering it, so it'll be interesting to see how that works out
when there are points on the board.
Yeah, when there's points on the board.
Yeah, it's nice. The dynamic here is going to be extremely interesting.
And double guard pull. Chris comes to top.
So no points on the double pull, though. Immediately going again for that Gogo Plata.
This time Sebastian pulling his leg up in the rubber guard Gogo Plata type situation.
We see Sebastian last
there,
time.
yeah.
Yep, from the bottom.
Yeah. He's got the foot across Chris's face.
Yep, it's not under the chin yet.
And Chris,
but it is close.
Now it is under the chin. It's under the chin. But he's only got a butterfly in on this side, and often there he cleared the butterfly, so this is a tough position.
It's very, very hard to finish like this. Chris can pull out. Yeah,
Chris was able to pull out.
Yeah.
Like Chris defended really nicely there. You know, if he stays low in that position, especially once Sebastian cleared his bottom leg, that gets really dangerous, and you can get finished there.
The big thing is, you know, he just calm the entire time. You could tell he can maintain consistent pressure. Nice omoplata.
He's holding on to it. He might try to transition it back into. But Chris was able to scoot his hips out. That should be a sweep, it seems, until
back into an entry again.
I'm not sure that Sebastian got the sweep points there.
No,
I think
I don't think he did. I don't think he established long enough.
If he had waited another 2 seconds there, I think he might have got the points for that. But he went for a leg lock entry a little sooner than the ref was giving the points out. So I think he lost a chance there to get some points.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out.
Yeah.
You know, very strong sub attempts from the bottom. Potentially, you feel confident going.
Yeah, you
might
not need the points.
You know, or you're looking to finish and sub.
Yeah.
Very nice leg lock entry on a deep entry to a heel hook. But Chris does a really good job of sitting on that outside hip and foot and stepping over it.
Chris comes up, prevents the sweep points, and Sebastian pulls guard again.
Yep. Yeah, very, very mindful. And good work from the corner there of yelling up to
yeah,
prevent the
I
points.
noticed that. That was really, really smart from the corner.
That's very, very good corner work. You know, you want your corner in these kind of matches, especially when there's points and no points, to be your ears and eyes and reminding you of, you know, what rule set you're competing in.
Those kind of changes, those calls from your corner make all the difference a lot of times.
And there's both guys no points on the board, so it's, great corner work.
So now we have Chris in sort of quarter guard, but laying a lot of pressure down. He definitely has control in this version of quarter guard here.
It looks like he's going to go in for the back here, just with trying to isolate the arms and push everything down to control the shoulders so that he can make that outside step, towards Sebastian's back. Looking for the gift wrap there, sort of collecting the hand, but I think he wants to get a stronger grip before he goes for it.
There it goes. It seemed like he went a little earlier than he wanted to, but he's still got that grip on the arm, and there he lost it. So now we have Sebastian moving from that back take attempt into side control, and Sebastian's on top now. And no points for that.
As Maine waves to the referee and interrupts the match accidentally. He's got to clear the guillotine there before there are points. I can't exactly see where the arms are. I can't tell if this is heavy shoulder pressure, if there's something in front of the neck on the cross side.
Seems like just heavy shoulder pressure, but it's hard to see the other side with the
Chris is doing something really interesting on this side with his arm. I'm not sure if he's trying to put blood back into it or before he's getting back into the post on that hip of Sebastian.
He's coming through and under the hips.
Yeah, that arm pumping motion. He seems to be reaching, or not maybe sure what he's reaching for, or potentially actually the shoulders on the front of the face, and he's having problems actually getting a breath in there.
It could be, and this is a lot of pressure coming down from Sebastian.
Yeah,
this will be really tiring to deal with.
Is he out of the? He's still in the half guard, correct? From my angle?
Yeah, he's still in half guard. There we go. Now Sebastian's moved to mount, and he's stabilized the mount there. That's smart jiu-jitsu. Really wonderful playing there. Stabilized the mount, controlled things, got his 4 points, and that's the first 4 points of the match, I think.
No points for the pass, but does get mount points there. Really heavy, high pressure on the shoulders there. Great positional work here from Sebastian on top. He is doing. It is so hard to keep those arms above the body for that length of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that mount position.
Gets much, much harder to breathe as time goes on.
Yeah. He's doing a good job keeping his knees close. He's not going to get turned over. And a reversal of position there. Looks like we are going for both hands on the inside of the shoulders.
Classic pass.
He only got 15 seconds left. So Sebastian, I think most advantageously, is going to hold into the guard here and keep the pressure down on the head. He has sort of an entry to a low arm lock, potentially a straight arm lock there, but I think he will most likely elect to just wait it out.
There's time. Sebastian takes the match on a 4-point mount. Really nice work from both guys.
Yeah, great work.
Clearly tired after the match.
That's what I like to see.
Wonderful work, yeah, wonderful work.
It is also getting a little warm here in the gym.
It's getting a little warm. It'll be interesting for these last couple matches.
Especially guys in the 135 bracket that have gone, that have gone 2 and 3 times.
Yep.
Fatigue sets in, especially with this heat. A lot of
fatigue and the sweat from these matches, these nogi matches, it's a different game once the heat kicks up and the humidity kicks in.
Yep. We have Chris Crawford and David Tyrell now. This is the second time we've seen both guys.
Yes.
We are well into the 135-pound round robin.
Third match of the 135-pound round robin. Chris, both of them second match.
Yep.
So we have Chris Crawford in the white and black, and David Tyrell in brown. Chris sitting into guard again. A nice gentle pat on the leg on his way down.
Yeah, doing a really good job of hooking those legs. Looking for his arm drags.
Chris playing a really nice game again. He keeps a little bit of pressure on the head during these exchanges from open guard. It's really frustrating to deal with on top. Not a lot of people play that pressure on the head in the same way that Chris has been.
David's done a really good job keeping pressure in, but Chris has a really, really hard knee shield in there.
Yeah. He's working that leg up again. We saw this last time.
Potentially going to look for an arm lock onto the side, but David does a really good job
really
pulling
nice
out of that.
Yeah, very nice job there. Predicting what Chris was doing, seeing the danger, and getting out when he still had a chance.
And we see that as really prominent in Nogi because there's no grips to hold guys down on.
Yeah.
It is very advantageous to just disengage out of a bad spot. You don't have a ton of incentive to sit in a bad spot and work because if you can just disengage and reset it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have that opportunity a lot more in Nogi than in Gi.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a skill to recognize when you're in that danger, and I think David did a really nice job of it there.
Yeah, did a great job there. And Chris again with that far side leg, he really likes that
collected that far side leg and moved into that outside ashi position. Just looking to open the heel up. We saw Chris in this position, similar position last.
Actually looking for a calf slicer here.
Moved to the calf slicer. I would love to see this. It's a personal favorite of mine.
This is a great
but
move.
David is playing smart, extending the leg out, not letting Chris collect the hip that he needs to finish that. However, his knee's in a very compromised position right now.
Yeah, this is a really tough position to work because David really has to turn his body all the way out and running man escape like that.
Wow, very nice. Wonderful escape work.
And it's tough because Crawford is so lanky and can chase you so well that a lot of times that won't work out in your favor. So it's awesome to see that David was able to get that off.
Great exchange from both guys there.
Mm-hmm. Great counter work. So I'm curious to see if Chris is going to work for that long leg X and long leg De La Hiva again from this position. David's passing with his knees, on the mat nice and low, not looking to standing pass at all. So I think that's going to eliminate a lot of the inversion opportunities that Crawford has and is looking for. Although Crawford does seem to play from this K guard.
A lot, yeah. He's liked that quite a bit.
Guard. And he uses his leg length very, very well to off-balance you from that. And we've been seeing him scoop his low side leg all the way across from there to really off-balance your hips. It's been really, really great to see that.
David seems to be happy to sort of slowly and gently enter into these guard exchanges here too, which I think is the right strategy for him in this case. Chris, we were just saying Chris is playing some of these nice entries from K-guard in various positions, and if you rush that from the top, if you rush against that, it's going to be very challenging.
And you're really playing into a guy's game there.
Yeah.
Any guy that has an established sort of guard position they want to play, if you start to rush through their guard willy-nilly.
Here we go. And David did a nice job there predicting what was happening, staying away, keeping distance until Chris felt like he needed to really engage. And then David was able to pass right away and landed in the mount position.
Yeah, David's trying to shuck to the back. I'm curious if he can do it with a gift wrap or he's just going to try to beat Crawford with the hips.
Kind of looks like he's changed his mind. He's now trying to maintain the mount position a little bit stronger because that shoulder, Chris was clearly trying to roll through with that shoulder.
Yeah.
David's keeping the pressure on that.
But Crawford's doing a good job of posting that far side arm. On the close side, that's really hard to attack, and it makes the establishing and keeping of that mount very, very difficult for David.
It does. That's an odd angle from the top, and being at that odd angle, you're a second away, a slip away from being on the bottom here.
Yeah.
But David's doing a nice job keeping pressure on that shoulder.
And he's pushing the elbow and the forearm and wrist of Chris into his own body to flatten him out.
Yeah. All of course, while maintaining nice hip control with his own hips down on the bottom there. This is a really nice display of mount technique here, and he's looking for the gift wrap.
Yep, and again, in that mount, he has a lot of time to work. He's not necessarily stuck in the half guard where he has to choose a certain side for the gift wrap. He can really elect to take whatever gift wrap he wants here. For either side will work in order to transition to the back.
That's a slight change here, but Chris has been able to collect David's far foot underneath his, and he attempted the escape that I thought he was going to go for and ended up not being able to control the foot well enough.
Well, he's going for it
there he goes again. And so that foot control position is one of the nice ways that he might be able to get out of here. If he can extend David's leg using that grip that he has with his that Chris has with his own feet, he might be able to get out of this position. But David's doing a really nice job keeping pressure on that
forearm.
Knowing
Chris's game, it wouldn't surprise me to actually see him try to counter off of that with an entry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go into something like a low X guard and then transition over to a saddle from there.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense here. But David's doing a nice job preventing it.
He is. He's got his feet very, very high, so Chris actually has to step his legs very, very high up into his hips, and it makes it a lot more difficult to defend the mount as it stands now, but it does give you escaping opportunities.
Yeah.
It's just he's putting, Chris in a very, very hard spot to defend this the way that Chris is looking to defend this and counter off of it. I can't quite see the hand position of David here.
Yeah, it's hard to predict what's happening up on top for us, but
he's decided to move to a lower Grapevine, and Crawford is doing a really good job of putting his elbows into the hips of David, forcing his hips lower to get him off of his chest.
Yeah.
It puts more pressure on your own hips and allows you a little more mobility. It also puts your legs lower, and potentially it's going to give Crawford the opportunity to try that escape he was working earlier.
Yeah, and it looks like here that David has a chance or opportunity to maybe work towards a Nogi Ezekiel kind of position, and I think time's getting a little low here, so it would make sense for David to try to make some moves. There's no points in this match yet, and he clearly dominated this match. But if he's not able to pull off a submission, it's not going to do much.
No, you go to the point section.
Just go to the next match, and so he might end up putting a lot of energy in here. Next round of the match.
We'll go to points after this.
Yeah, and so it would be beneficial for him to start really attacking something with this really great position that he's managed to maintain.
Potentially he's also getting a lot of reads here, for what will be effective amount, because he's in a mounted position, potentially being able to keep that in the point section.
Yeah,
is from a strategic point of view is good.
Yeah,
if he knows that because Crawford is a guy that's notoriously very, very difficult to submit.
Crawford comes up with his legs
with the goat hooks.
The goat hooks. David laughs a little bit as time runs out. It was a nice match. Really wonderful mount control. And, maybe you're right. Maybe the strategy was to just figure out what Chris's strategy from bottom mount is going to be and then carry that into the next match where points matter. It's completely possible. He also, these is something that from a strategic standpoint that you might not often consider here sitting on the sidelines commentating is how tired being in mount makes you. Yeah. Another strategy might just be, I think Chris is going to be hard to submit. I'm going to not really try to submit him, but maybe I can tire him out so much that I get points quickly in the next round.
Definitely. What I love about jiu-jitsu is there's so many different ways to approach every single match, and so it makes it
the beauty of the sport.
Crawford with a really low stance initially. I'm curious if he's going to try to scoop the leg and go for a takedown, or if he's looking for the grips on the pull.
Or if he's just having some fun.
That too.
So we get a guard pull from David this time.
Yep, and we're going to see Crawford enter in that. He really likes that Estima entry into the leg locks. We're seeing that come to prominence a little more recently.
It's a nice way to keep someone's mind on a submission while you start to work into a pass position. David inverting really nicely on the leg. He's able to collect the heel.
And we get a counter from Crawford.
And now we're back up for really good exchange there.
A little bit of sweat on the mats.
Yeah, a little slipping. That's part of the game, though.
Yeah,
especially
great work from both guys. I love to see when someone locks up a leg and then the response that is an immediate counter.
Yeah, yeah.
Another inversion.
Another inversion, collected the leg again pretty nicely, and Chris again is working for the counter.
Yeah, Chris is working on that knee bar, but also he's got his own leg free in this position, which is good to see. Potentially looking for a back take, or we're going to see another one of that bear trap calf slicer again.
Yeah. I would love to see a calf slicer again. Chris working down for the legs, but David escaping again.
Did a good job standing up.
These two seem very evenly matched. This is a really wonderful...
Still even on points, correct?
Yep, 0-0. Oh, so... rules here. We have, in the second round, in the first round, we're okay to pull guard without any contact. In the second round here, when there's points involved, there's no pulling guard without contact. And so what happened right there was that Chris pulled guard with not enough contact, got a warning, so that he could stand back up. Yeah. Otherwise, David gets a point.
Yeah, it's a point to your opponent, which I really like.
I like that rule, yeah,
because it forces you to pull with purpose.
Yes.
As opposed to just pulling, and which there's a time and a place for, but I do like that it forces you to pull with some more purpose at a better range to actually start engaging.
Yeah, encourages a little bit more wrestling at least.
Yep. Or active work from the bottom, and you have to fight them you have to engage in the guard at a range that works.
Nice pass attempt by David there. Chris is able to circle through, but it's a very clean baseball slide pass.
Another pull from David off of the contact from Chris. Chris is going to try to do that backstepping entry into the knee, and potentially into the knee bar or heel hook.
He's liked that, but it seems clear that David is aware that it's coming and is moving in a way that makes it very difficult to actually hit that backstep. And an inversion from him again for the sweep this time, except Chris collected the ankle in the process.
And comes up. There's no points.
No points. We've seen that exchange 2 or 3 times now. Yeah. It's very clean. But
Crawford's doing a great job of recognizing that when he ends up on the bottom in that exchange, in that entry, of getting back up. And that's why he hasn't been scored on from that way in the match.
And then David's doing a nice job realizing that he has to respect that counter. Both guys very aware of the progression of the match, progression of the moves. Another attempt at it, and this time Chris, aware that it's coming.
Almost did a diving back take there off of the leg drag.
You could tell he thought about it.
Yep, and then you see that David actually had his far side leg on the hip, so Chris Crawford decided not to go for it because of that hip contact.
Yep.
Crawford taking that reverse toe hold grip there, potentially going to drag it through. David with a nice entry into the 50-50.
Chris coming back up. And his own 50-50 entry. And coming back up.
Yeah.
You know, these this late in a match, we're here in Baltimore with 80% humidity. A lot of these submission attempts get very, very challenging. The sweat builds up, and even if you're not dripping in sweat, there's a little bit of moisture on the skin, and controlling an ankle gets very difficult in these conditions. And
nice attempt from an armbar there from the guard from
very
David.
Nice.
Eventually going to look for a triangle here. Yeah, it gets really hard to lock stuff down later in the match, especially 2 and 3 matches deep.
Yep.
80, 90 degrees with 80% humidity. You're just a little more slippery than you are.
Yeah.
Potentially even in not an open air event like this.
And so some of these attempts might work in an air conditioned room or in a winter tournament, but it's challenging here.
Yeah.
We got to play the game a little differently.
David's doing a really good job of blocking that outside 50-50, and potentially going to actually look for a sweep here because he has his leg on the other side and arm underneath of the leg.
Chris sat back down, got his hips squared to the mat again, and then is able to start controlling David's legs a little bit, but David's cleared his knees, so now we're just in sort of a sitting guard position.
Yep, a little less than 1 minute.
And then we got time.
Overtime.
So we're moving into overtime, it seems. No?
All right.
Oh, okay.
Might have been points on the board that I missed there, Zach.
Yeah, I might have. We both must have missed those points. David took it on points. I didn't catch.
Points or decision? I actually kind of missed how that was taken.
I think it was said points.
Okay, we must have missed the points exchange. It was 2 points for a stand-up.
We must have. Yeah, we must have. So David here moves on to the finals because he's won 2 of these matches, and that's the structure of this tournament. It's the round-robin tournament.
So Ellis is just explaining the scenario here for what's going to happen in the qualifier if there is need to be a qualifier if the 5-man round robin is a tied up, essentially. And
so this is the last match of this 5-man or 4-man round robin. We have Kevin Bachman. No.
Nope. We don't have this one listed, actually, Zach. This one is Carlos.
Carlos in the pinky and Pookie.
Yep, versus
Pookie Kim in the black. This is the last match of the 135 round robin.
Yep. Potentially. We have a finals match as well, but really nice armbar entry from Pookie here.
Yeah.
And Carlos.
Carlos here is trying to sit his butt back and clear a little space to get his ankle out of Pookie's grip, and his knees past Pookie's butt, which is important for the defense, but Pookie's still got a good grip on that ankle, which makes it challenging for Carlos to really mount any offense.
Yep. I can't exactly see where Pookie's hands are, but Carlos looks like he's trying to counter with a heel hook of his own.
He does.
He's a little high on the elbow. I'm curious to see if he's going to try to adjust that to
lower. He's got a good grip on the ankle, though.
And Pookie's watching it. I'm curious to see if he's going to try to open up his legs and counter.
I think that Carlos didn't have enough control of Pookie's hips on that to really get the torque he needed to finish the heel hook there, but he had a good grip on the foot. And now we see the opposite situation. Carlos came up a little too fast, and Pookie was able to collect the ankle there. Finish with a heel hook from the bottom with Carlos's weight sort of pressing down. And this is one of the positions that you often don't expect to get heel hooked because you think I'm moving up to the top, I've got control. But if you don't manage to keep
the pressure in and move all the way up to the top
and your foot on the ground, you have to keep your heel on the mat. And Carlos let his heel come up off the mat a little bit. Pookie took advantage of it, very clean and nice, and was able to finish with a heel hook there.
Yep. So we got a couple more matches next. Next match is going to be Kevin Bachman versus Nick Wiley.
Kevin Bachman in the shorts, Nick Wiley in a singlet. Not something you see every day, but I encourage it.
Most days.
Clearly coming out like a wrestler there.
Yep, I would definitely agree. That's a good take, Zach.
Who would have guessed? The guy in a singlet comes out in a very firm wrestling stance. So we have Nick Wiley from Revolution BJJ and Kevin Bachman from Method MMA here in Philly. Or in Baltimore.
Yep.
I don't live in Philly anymore.
It's been a few years, Zach. Ooh, really
nice entry. But Kevin does a nice job getting his chest down and preventing the takedown. And then jumps guard, but is from still standing.
And you can jump guard with the overhook there.
Yep. And Nick gently dropping Kevin back down to the mat. Now we're in a closed guard situation. Kevin has a overhook. Has an underhook now and the arm wrapped around the head and is playing a really tight closed guard.
Yeah, it's really chest to chest here. That overhook, he's not giving it up at all. He's really got his elbows pinched in to keep the head on the chest there.
And this is the kind of position that you want to take. That against a very strong wrestler, right?
Yeah.
I think a lot of times it's a smart strategy to make sure you're maintaining low posture against really strong wrestlers. And there he goes again, pulling the head down.
Yeah. Because the outside scrambling of a good wrestler is going to be very, very hard for most kind of traditional jiu-jitsu guys to handle. So it's a strategy you want to employ. Going for that double armbar there from the double high guard. Let's see if he can get it done.
Nick's got his knee coming into Kevin's.
Kind of going to try to log splitter out of it, possibly.
Yeah, looks like he's going for the log splitter, but I think that Kevin's guard's a little high for that pass to function cleanly. Not that it can't function, but it's
easier to do when your butt is on the ground as the person in the guard to open up the log splitter pass like that.
And then the log splitter. Nick stopped trying to attempt the log splitter there. I think it was clear that Kevin's guard was a little too high for it to function clean.
It had ridden up on the legs.
Yeah. And he was starting to get in a little bit of danger with the arms there too, which is something you got to be careful of when you do that log splitter pass.
Yeah, especially from that angle.
Kevin working into an overhook again here, and Nick moved down to a nice body lock position. This can be really frustrating against guys that have that kind of hip control on top there.
It is hard, though, because the guard is so close, so even with the body lock, it's going to be extremely hard to pass. Usually you see the body lock passing employed when the guard is a little open. You're playing from a half guard or playing from an outside guard. But from the closed guard, very, very rare to see the body lock an effective passing strategy.
Yeah.
Although
it can work, though. It can work, though, if you sort of angle yourself off to the side and keep pressure on the inner thigh. You can open up the guard that way, but it is very challenging.
Yeah. Good job again. Continue to keep the posture down.
Isn't it?
We got more of this back and forth, which I think that it can be really underappreciated how important these sort of small exchanges are in the guard here. It's not the most exciting looking jiu-jitsu always, but it is very technical. The back and forth between posture management and breaking down the posture in the closed guard here. Kevin's doing a really nice job against someone that is clearly very strong in balance, getting him off balance here and there and being able to close up his guard and start moving up again like he is here, where he wants that high guard.
I think that's the best strategy to employ is, from the straight guard, you're able to kind of control someone who is very explosive in the passing. And if you keep your guard closed, there are a lot of attacks and options that you do have from the closed guard if you're able to utilize it effectively.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of overhook action here. He's really going for that double armbar or an armbar variation from the guard. It doesn't look like he's even trying to shuck one arm down into a triangle.
No,
it looks like he's going for one of those straight arm bars from the guard.
Yeah, with someone with the mobility that Nick looks like he has on the top here, moving to those triangles can be really challenging at these weights. I probably wouldn't be checking down to a triangle either in this case. I think it might be smart jiu-jitsu there.
It looks like the passing style that Nick wants to implement. He's going to get one arm through and he's going to blast and turn the corner there.
Yep.
So going for a triangle pinch is going to be disadvantageous, at least for the style of guard that I'm seeing Kevin play right now.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me as well. He's going for that body lock passing again, but again, we're in a position where Kevin's guard's still closed.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard with everything closed up. Got about a minute left in this section of the match before I move into the points.
There's the high guard that seemed like Kevin was looking for. He's got the calves up over Nick's shoulders.
Yeah, they're a little lower on the shoulders.
Nick was able to pop it through.
For that armbar from the high guard, you really need to have the calf on the top crown of the shoulder blade.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it's on the back, it's almost impossible to hit that armbar variation. Yeah, Kevin falling back for an ankle lock, going outside on just a straight ankle lock.
Yeah, Kevin back up. Nick came around the back though with a quick go behind on the stand-up position and moved himself into side control.
Yeah, only a few seconds left in the match though, so I'm curious to see if he's going to look to sub here or just implement hard positional control and then take it on and then look to take it on the points.
He is going for that key lock. Working for the Kimura now from the top. There's not much time left, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. These submissions can come on quick.
We've seen Nick hit Kimuras in the final seconds of matches before. I think it was fight to win match here in Baltimore a couple years ago. He hit a Kimura in the last couple of seconds of the match.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we got a couple of matches left, and then we're going to have a brief 10-minute intermission, and then we got to the finals.
We got a qualifier match for the 135, and so the 10-minute intermission there is going to be just to get those guys back and healthy for the finals match, because you can't. It's be a serious disadvantage to rush a guy there.
I never find that the best way to watch jiu-jitsu is when one guy's really gassed and the other guy's not.
Yeah, you don't want to see that.
I want to see finals matches where both guys are rested and ready to go.
Absolutely.
I just find it always leads to better matches. So back on the feet here for the start of the second round of this match. We are in the points section of Kevin Bogman versus Nick Wiley. Nick in the Revolution BJJ singlet, and Kevin in the black.
Kevin working for collar tie, Nick working for collar ties. creeping forward. Went for a high double again, sort of a bully double situation. But Kevin was able to keep his elbows in underneath and prevent that pressure from coming in under his chest. And
Yeah,
so
did a good job there.
it was a really nice defense. It's clear that Kevin's aware of how this takedown game works that Nick's trying to implement. He's doing a pretty good job with the defense there. Seems like Nick's really looking for these sort of bully doubles.
Definitely. And he's, with that low down block position, I'm curious to see if we'll try to see him scoop an ankle if he goes back to that.
Yeah, you see that a lot, but also sometimes it's these guys that really like those guys that really like these forceful takedowns, these bully sort of takedowns might pick at an ankle here and there just to keep you from keeping your chest low.
Yeah.
And there we go. This was
Nick
a very
really
nice
good
takedown.
On the
Yeah. He went high like he was going for the collar ties. This is a very common thing that you see. He went up as if he was going to hit the collar tie there and then dropped into the high single. Was able to pick it up and finish. It's a really nice takedown.
Yeah, really nice sequence there.
Yeah.
Get the points,
Gets
get points on the board.
Those points matter, or first points on the board really set the sway of the match.
Yeah, and statistically speaking, the first person to score wins the match.
Yeah.
More usual than not.
It's easier to maintain points than it is to gain them.
Yeah.
So here we have half guard. Nick sort of crept up into half guard this time. He avoided the full guard of Kevin, which we saw a lot of play from in the last match.
Yeah.
And so he was able to avoid that full guard position.
I'm curious to see if we're going to see more of that body lock style passing, which is much more effective from the half guard than it is from the full guard. So
it looks like he's going high here. Nick's got really nice pressure into Kevin's face. And he was looking for the double underhooks, which is another sort of pseudo body lock type passing profile that you can see that works really well.
Potentially going to see a drive to the mount here.
Yep, there he goes.
Nick's doing a really good job, sliding over, sliding up. Slides into a high mount, controlling both arms. Potentially go to the back here or actually go for an arm. He looks like he's stepping up that leg over to go for the arm. I'm curious to see if he's going to try to roll him back and switch leg over before.
4 points for the mount.
Yep.
So we're up 6-0. Nick's up 6-0 here as he starts to transition into the arm bar.
He's going to go to the belly down arm bar. Knees are a little wide there. It's going to be hard. Potentially going to transition to the back there. Does a great job of falling off the arm into the back.
Yeah.
That is a transition that we do not see super frequently, so good work there.
No, it was really, really good balance. Used his head to sort of prop himself up to pull back into get those hooks.
Yeah.
Really clean work.
Back into the half guard. Really nice escape from Kevin here.
Yeah.
Did a good job of, instead of giving up the back mount there, forced it into the bottom half guard, which is, a better failing up position than the back mount.
Yeah. Failing up is a good word for that transition. He's got some room to work here, although Nick's doing a nice job keeping him flat and was able to move back into the mount the same way that he did last time.
Yeah. Missed it, and actually no points on that.
Transition.
Just short enough to not actually have it establish points. We're going to see another Kimura attempt here on the armbar, but then a Kimura actually a leg scissor finish.
Scissor finish. And he gets the tap for the leg scissor.
Yeah.
Not a submission you see very often, but when it's implemented, it is challenging to deal with. Especially when you have control that Kimura grip on the arm. It's really good control
to
of the shoulders.
To defend the leg scissor, you have to open up your hand, gable grip or hand grip to fight the outside leg.
And then you get Kimura'd.
Yep. In combination, it's done very, very well.
Yeah.
I had a buddy actually win an MMA fight, his debut, with leg scissor.
Oh, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not a submission that I teach white belts, but it's certainly something that works. And if it's something you're keeping your eye out for, you can win matches with it, clearly. Really nice finish there by Nick.
Yeah. Great work. Now we got Sean Ashley versus Tim Nasamera. Sean Ashley Maryland colors.
Yes. Sean Ashley out of 410 Academy and Tim McNamara out of Henzo Gracie. Tim pulling guard right away, working
on truck entry, actually.
Yeah, truck entry. Now we just have some leg entanglement craziness happening here.
A lot of
bit of inversions,
yeah. A little bit of a
back in. Cleared the legs and then re-entered that truck entry again. He's looking to get through. This position can be really great for entering the leg locks, but also if he if Sean is able to clear that top leg, we have a lot of pass options. Looks like
Sean's looking to take the back here.
I was gonna say, it looks like he's much more interested in staying in the leg entanglements and making it work for him, or taking the back, though.
Sean has that really nice long leg hook that Tim actually stepped over there and pushed it down and stepped over. Good work. Looks like Sean's going to try to invert into another potential.
Looking for a knee here.
Back. He's a little high on the leg.
Yeah.
To go for the knee. I think Tim's doing a really good job pushing him away there, but these guys are both definitely interested in going into the leg locks.
Yeah. This is a wild leg entanglement right here.
Looks like a bolo variation there, trying to go for the back position.
Yeah. Now we're settling into a bit more of an open guard position, but it also looks very much like Tim McNamara is looking to backstep into the saddle or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Right as Sean rolls through for
Sean's in
leg trap attempt himself.
In the same leg drag position. Now he puts the inside knee through the leg, so he's in a very nice leg drag position, although the leg is on the inside, more like a leg weave.
He's got that hook around. Oh, there he lost it. But
yeah, he was trying to invert and throw through to actually take the back off that, I think.
And he's been working that far hook really nicely. It's not exactly a reap, but it's sort of around the calf and then far hooking underneath.
It gives you a ton of control on both legs,
yes,
which is why I've always really liked that particular hook. It actually allows you to follow their legs as they step too.
Yeah.
Nice inversion in the knee bar.
Collecting the ankle, but doesn't have enough control on the knee. So we're seeing a lot of attempts here, and they're clean attempts, but they're coming so fast. It's not been a lot of good hip control in the process. I think both guys are really aware of how these leg lock entanglements work, and both of them are keeping their knees in good position.
I think these guys have faced each other a fair few times at this point in the local scene.
Looks like it, at least. I'm not familiar with any of those matches myself, but they clearly know what each other are doing.
Yep. There's another leg lock potential calf slasher truck entry here. I'm curious to see if we're going to see for a toe hold
here and there. Yeah, that's what I was saying. A lot of these leg entanglements, they're each defending so well that nobody's been, in my opinion, nobody's really been close to a finishing position in any of these leg entanglements. But we've seen some wild position changes there.
Yeah, really great transitions for both guys, and on offense and defense kind of comboed together. As a result, you're not seeing a ton of knee line control or hip line control because of the defense is so on point with every entry.
Yeah,
and even the counters that both guys are doing are playing into, the defense as well. It's not just a blind counter; it is a defensively sound counter, which is great to see.
Time. We got time. Not sure.
Either time or a reset.
Oh, looks like a reset. They were just getting a little close to the edge of the mat.
The metal poles on the side there. Keep the competitor safe. Always great to see.
You probably want to avoid those.
Ooh, Lachlan style entry on the leg, potentially going to go bear trap. Nope. And Tim's able to turn his hips out. Sean's able to turn his hips out. Potentially looking for the redrag on the calf there, but Tim does a great job of putting his low side knee down and escaping the hip line. Sean's going to try to counter with a back take, but Tim does a great job of getting his back and flat to the mat to counter with a knee bar.
Yeah.
This is sort of the flavor of the match so far.
Yeah. In this particular position, Tim is doing a really nice job keeping his shin in the back of Sean's knee. And that does a nice thing for these leg entanglements to slow things down. So if you can just contain their knees by like putting your shin in the back knee pocket, it slows things down a little bit. And I think that's what Sean...
Well, you can add additional pressure there, too, which helps that. Sean's doing a good job playing on top here. Maybe going to step to mount. I'm not quite certain. But Tim looks like he gets his outside leg in, gets it underneath of Sean's knee to push him away. We're seeing a little bit more of Sean get comfortable on top. We're seeing less of that open double guard and more of Sean sort of attacking from the back and attacking the guard.
He's keeping the pressure on a little bit more now than he had been originally.
Really nice gable grip here. Body, not body lock, sort of head and arm lock. Still stuck in the half guard, but potentially going to look to actually slide that knee down. We may actually wait for their end of time. Looks like Sean is very closely looking at the time, since he doesn't have a lot of time to work after that reset.
He was for a minute there doing a nice job keeping his forearm in front of Tim's face, which stops this kind of thing from happening while he was looking at the time. But back into some inversions.
Just a little over a minute left in this match. Sean doing a nice job basking that head.
Nice. Yeah, that was some nice passing, and he's starting to try to move into the back, but
Tim does a great job, like fighting off those hands and then rounding his back and pulling out as he's rounding.
Yeah, he snuck his hand in the last second on that back take and was able to use that position to pull through.
Another entry chin strap from Sean here onto Tim. Looking to sort of kick down and also looking for a back take entry. Potentially Tim's going to counter with a toe hold here. Looks like Sean is putting his hand in Tim's mouth a little bit there. Looking for kind of a python or a muffler style choke.
A little bit of Wagner action.
A little bit of Wagner Hosha there. It's good.
I didn't hear that it was illegal in the rules meeting, so.
I didn't hear that it was illegal.
If you didn't tell me it was illegal, it's legal.
Yeah. It's a super fight. So we're going to move into
the points section of the match.
Very brief breather. Folks are going to get some water. Moving into the point section of the match. Zach, I don't know. I have no clue how this one's going to go.
No idea.
We're going to see Ashley put a little more positional pressure on it and take the back.
Yeah, I think Sean actually started playing a little bit more of a positional game, which is going to be to his advantage for the points position portion. You know, if he can keep maintaining that sort of pressure, maybe garner some points from it.
Right.
I think that plays well for him. We didn't see a lot of points-oriented action from Tim in that match at all, and you know, it'll be interesting to see if he changes his strategy a little bit from straight submission attacking to a little bit more of a points-oriented version of the game.
All right, moving back into this second points round. You think we're going to see a takedown here, Zach?
I don't know. I think both these guys want to pull guard. There we go.
Nice
Sean with a guard pull, but Tim actually playing really nicely into it and sitting down clean, not allowing Sean to get the grips that he wanted to off of that guard pull. Sean working into a deep half setup for K-guard, moving into K-guard from a deep half sort of setup position.
Yeah, there he got the far side hip on the deep half grip, but he keeps transitioning it from under Tim's thigh to inside the thigh. I'm curious to see how he's trying to change that grip sequence.
Looks like he can get the sweep here if he kicks his legs through and is able to come to top, and there we go.
Good work.
I think that's the sweep. Wait and see if he controls long enough for the points, and there they are. So we got Sean up 2 now. And I think Tim's happy to be playing from his back here, but playing from your back down 2 is a little different than playing from your back. So we'll see if he...
I would definitely agree.
If he changes his strategy much, or if he's still working in for those, those leg attacks.
Sean's been that python. You know, I'm curious to see. He's really just doing it to be a tritive on the top here, I think, and maybe potentially open something up, because it is something that you do have to address with your hands.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's on top of all that, it's just frustrating.
Yeah.
And if I can frustrate my opponent, I want to do that.
Yep, it's great work. You know, when the rules allow for it, I think it's an outstanding tool to utilize.
I think it's an outstanding tool to utilize if the rules don't allow for it, as long as the ref doesn't see.
That is a very reasonable take, Zach. Going to have a toe hold attempt here from Tim. He's got the hands locked up. He's a little higher on the ankle of the toe hold, but eventually he's going to slide his hand down and go low as he changes his own hips.
He switches to the straight ankle grip there really nicely and is moving into an X guard.
Tim's doing a really good job of keeping his outside leg inside of Tim's thigh. Or sorry, Sean's doing a good job of keeping it inside the thigh, which really prevents a lot of the leg lock entries there because you can't put your knees together with the opponent's hook in that position. Sean again with the hand on the face. Yep. Doing a good job of not getting taken over by Tim's inversion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tim's looking to enter on that knee bar, but Sean is consistently doing a great job with that close side knee of putting the knee inside the thigh.
He's sort of looking for the cradle position here, but Tim has a grip on his inside ankle, so he wasn't able to clear it enough to get that cradle position locked up all the way.
Yeah.
And here, actually, Tim looks like he has an entry for a calf crusher a little bit, but he's also got good control of the far leg.
It's doing good. Yeah, see again with that position of the foot with Sean, that Sean has prevents the knees from coming together to block it.
Looking to take the back a little bit, maybe. Back to X guard here.
Yep, Sean did a really good job of putting that outside leg down. He's going to push it across the shin, potentially look to take a pass off this.
Sean playing this top pressure game, though. You know, Tim's clearly looking for the entanglements relentlessly.
Yeah.
But Sean's doing a nice job maintaining top position, and really, I mean, he's clearly putting on an offense and trying to pass here and there, but really what he needs to do is just maintain that top position and not get subbed at this point because we're getting a little late in the match, and he's up 2. Tim needs to hit the sweep or something along those lines to even things up.
Potentially looking for a Kayotera variation of the ankle lock there with that inside hook that comes through the middle and back onto the hip, or the inside hip.
Pretty strong position, but Sean's able to clear the ankle. Sits forward.
Great balance work there.
Wonderful
not get taken
balance.
Over. He lost it on the step and then was able to step through again and get his knees down in order to prevent being taken over or extended out.
He's not entirely out of the weeds here because Tim still has a good grip in there, and now he is. He's been able to clear that leg.
Curious if he's going to try to grab a chin strap here and slide through or actually go to the back.
Tim turtles up a bit. Sean's been able to settle into that turtle position.
Looking for potentially another truck entry. That crossbody.
Yep. Also, just playing the calves really nice here. He's got his foot hooks and his ride in the back.
That roll from your opponent.
Yes.
And so Sean's doing a great job with the shin pinning and foot pinning on that low calf of Tim.
Really
that's on
smart
the ground
jiu-jitsu.
there. It prevents the roll through for the entries into the leg lock and the knee bar. Sean also has a really great body.
He's also
block.
putting a lot of angry pressure on that ankle with his foot there. That was really nice.
Yeah, that was great positional work.
Really great positional work.
Very, very nice match from both guys.
Yeah.
Lots of back and forth.
Lots of back and forth. Clearly two guys that understand the leg lock game. Sean takes it with 2 points on the sweep. Great match.
Yeah, very good.
So we got 2 more matches in the event here. We got a qualifier match between Pookie Kim and David Terra.
Is it Terra or is it Tim Nasamara? Jamal Johnson is on the mat now.
Oh, Jamal.
Pook is injured.
Okay, so that's what happened. So Pookie Kim's injured on the side of the mat, which means that we have a qualifier match between Chris Crawford and Jamal. The winner of this match will go on to the finals of the 135 bracket. We're going to have a 10-minute intermission in between to give whoever wins this match a chance to catch their breath.
Yep.
So we have the same structure for this match that we've had for the previous matches. We have one round with sub-only, 1 round points. Oh, that's incorrect. We have a 6-minute match, 3 minutes, no points, 3 minutes with points. So this is 1 round qualifier match. And we're in the 3 minutes of submission only here. And Chris pulled guard immediately going for that ankle, trying to finish this quick. Got that outside Ashi position, but doesn't really have Jamal extended very well. And Jamal's able to keep his heel a little bit closer to his butt than Chris needs it. Chris needs to extend that leg out a bit to really get enough pressure on the ankle to force the tap. He's doing a nice job of trying to create that distance here, but Jamal's keeping him close, hugging that hip in. It's going to be really hard to finish from this close of a position, but Jamal still needs to get his right leg there deep underneath him enough to stand up, which is exactly what he did right there. Chris capitalized by bouncing him back down, though, but he cleared the leg enough to get out of danger from that straight ankle lock that Chris was attempting.
Yep. Looks like Chris is digging deep on that heel hook.
Yeah. He's got that.
And he gets the tap.
Gets the tap. That was a nice finish there by Chris. Clean attacks all the way through. Jamal was doing a really nice job defending, but Chris was relentless with the attacks there and was able to cleanly collect that heel.
Yep.
So now we're going to move into a 10-minute intermission to allow Chris a little time to breathe before he has his match with David Tyrell.
Yep, I'm going to use the bathroom.
Yeah.
We're going to start back at exactly 5 p.m. We're going to throw that in the chat here, so we'll be back in 10 minutes. So we are moving into our finals match.
We got Chris Crawford versus David Tyrell.
Yep, should be,
135-pound final.
I just want to get a picture of the
Yeah.
I mean, we could go behind one.
Yep, for the 135-pound final.
For $500.
I got a picture of it. It's on my phone. Documented. Let's go get it. Finish it up. Yeah, we gotta do a 64.
So this is a rematch from the first round that David took, I think, via points, correct?
I think so. And here we go. Some hand fighting here. Chris looking for that same entry that he's looked for a couple times today. It ends up in just standard butterfly guard, but I think he's happy to be there.
Yeah, it looks
Shucked David off to the side, trying to move into a saddle position, and David was able to pass off of that.
really
And has
nice
moved him out
pass.
quickly. But in his way to mount, he sort of let his leg drag behind a bit, and Chris was able to collect it for half guard and has a lockdown position set up now.
Yep. He's not expressing it at all, but it is there if he decides to use it.
Yeah.
David did a really good job of passing out to the side there, getting
David
that leg
keeps his
free.
foot really close to his butt on that pass and is able to get through all the way, and he's got a scarf hold right now. You can finish people with this, but
Yeah, I'm
it's
curious to see-
uncommon at the lower weights.
He is pulling up on that low side arm.
Yeah.
Zach and I have had many discussions about the finishing ability of Scarfold in the various weight classes.
I would love to see it at a low weight class because that means that I win the argument.
That would be correct. Yeah, David's doing a really good job of pressuring through. Chris is doing a nice job of getting his shoulder up off the mat, but he still isn't able to get his head free. David with this modified scarf hold position, modified Keisakatame.
Now, this is a tough position for David to be in, too, because outside of finishing with the scarf hold, I guess, chest crush,
Or
or
the
the
Americana.
Americana that you can get with the legs off of this, there's not much you can do, and moving out of this position can be really challenging without losing position. So
Not bad. It's actually not a modified position. This is a regular scarf hold. See,
Yeah, it's-
Chris Crawford can actually take the back from here if he's
Yes.
able to get his head free. So David is doing a really good job of maintaining super tight pressure on the chest there to prevent that back take.
And he
from
also,
Crawford.
David's also placing his the hand that he has around Chris's neck. He's placing it on his inner thigh there, which tightens things up and makes it much more difficult for Chris to execute the back take off of this.
Yeah, Chris is doing a great job of gable gripping now. It's going to be extremely difficult to get that arm back. Oh,
And there's the Kimura attempt that we were talking about earlier, and he finishes with it. Beautiful finish. That's what we were saying. There's really only three ways that position can go. You can finish with that Kimura that he did, the chest crush, or you get your back taken, really.
Yep. Very,
Wonderful finish
very
by
nice
David.
Finish. And wins $500.
Yeah.
And the men's 135-pound Edgard 3 round robin tournament.
Yeah. An exciting finish. It's a submission you don't see very often from a position you don't see very often.
At the lower weights.
At the lower weights, yeah.
Very great work.
I'm gonna call this a win for me. So, David Taro, your 135-pound round robin champion.
Yep, of Edgard. All right, so that does it for us here at the Edgard Invitational 3, having a Method MMA. I have been your commentator, Maine Miller, joined with my commentator,
Zach Brodnick.
And if you want to hear us talk more about jiu-jitsu in the future, you can catch us every week, Tuesday, on the Grappling Rewind podcast, where we talk about professional jiu-jitsu. We preview the biggest matchups in the sport and everything going on in the professional space of jiu-jitsu. Also, feel free to follow Brad and his podcast. Brad, what's your podcast?
Bard of all trades.
Bard of all trades.
And anything else we want to plug, Brad?
Nah, man, just how awesome you guys guys do the commentary.
And you can catch us at the next Egg Guard, which hopefully happens soon, as well as on a number of other events. If you want to have us do commentary in the future, please reach out to us. Just find us on Grappling Rewind, grappling_rewind on Instagram and all other platforms, and catch the podcast every Tuesday. Have a great evening.